Welcome back to 1010's Podcast. I'm here with Michael and Adam and Robbie, and we have several guests this week. We're over here at Zion Designs, which is also Off the Line Performance. And we're here with Lifestyle Offroad. It's kind of the party podcast. We're in the shop, so to speak, with phones going off. It's a very professional podcast.
Just let it be known that it wasn't Joe.
It wasn't Joe from Zion. No. So why don't you guys go around, introduce yourselves so people can kind of associate voices. Because we've not done a podcast with this many people in like a year and a half, probably.
Oh, at least.
At least. I can think of
Formula
one.
Baja would have been the last time we had 6 people.
So anyway, let's just go around the table and introduce yourselves and what company you're with. And
All right. Well, I'm Luke Pankow. I'm with Lifestyle Offroad and 515 Racing.
I'm Joe Crowdis, and I'm with Zion Designs and Zion Designs.
Nice.
Phil Bryant, also with Zion Designs.
And also Zion Designs?
Yep.
That's good work. What's going on, guys?
Not much, man. Not much.
Hold that microphone just a little
Keep
bit
that-
close to you, Joe.
yeah, get it all in it.
Sorry.
Don't be afraid.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
You're the outgoing guy.
I know, but
promise.
now I'm like, we're recording, and I'm scared shitless. So.
This only goes out to like
role.
multiple thousands of people.
It's not a
Million.
big
It's
deal.
millions. Sorry, millions and millions of people.
Millions.
Yeah.
Okay,
If you're
well, then-
listening, this actually goes out to millions and millions of people.
We might
International.
break billions this week.
But, sorry, I didn't mean to yell. Sorry, everyone.
It's okay.
It's billions, but only thousands get it? Is that how that works?
I think it's exactly like that.
okay.
I mean, it's a select. We hand select the people
Oh,
that
well,
get to
then
listen
fantastic.
to the podcast. Yeah,
All right.
It's people with the right taste. So,
Got to be
Perfect,
tedious.
so Joe, we met. I don't even know when we met now. A couple years ago, probably.
Yeah.
With your association with Cars and Coffee.
Yep. 2 years ago, we started sponsoring Cars and Coffee. I had gone to an event 3 years ago. It was one of the last ones in September at their old location. Just kind of saw it for what it actually was and thought that it was a pretty cool gig. And then
Because what's the actual? Is it Des Moines Cars and Coffee?
It's,
Because I get it mixed up.
Cars and Coffee DSM, or
Okay.
Cars and Coffee Des Moines, yeah.
So, but that's a non-profit, right?
Yeah, so what they do is they I don't know if you guys have talked about it much on the podcast, but so it's a nonprofit organization that they sell t-shirts t-shirts and t-shirts and t-shirts.
Yeah.
And stickers.
And stickers, yep. Decals. Die-cut decals, Luke. You should know this. But they sell stuff, and they the proceeds to those things go to a scholarship foundation for DMAC, for the automotive group.
Okay.
So when we heard that, that's kind of what led us to kind of start a relationship with them. And it's just what they do is pretty cool. So the first year they gave out 2 scholarships, and I think this year they were trying to get at least 3 or 4 scholarships for kids.
Is that a full? It pays for the tuition for all of it, or a semester?
I think
Do you
it's.
know?
I'm not 100% sure. So Rusty, Mike, if you guys are listening, sorry that I'm butchering that. But they do help out with schooling, which is really cool to get that next generation into the automotive technologies.
Yeah. We've talked a little bit about the trade programs and stuff like that, and the resurgence of it. So, but your company, Zion Designs, you guys started that when? A few years ago now.
2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
Phil and I were at another company together that we were doing a lot of work for somebody that wasn't very appreciative. Let's just leave it at that. And I'm getting the look. Sorry, everyone.
We've never been there.
No,
What's that like?
Never. No one has ever done that. I mean, it was a great place, very nice people. Just time to move on is where that was. So in 2015, we started, worked out of my front office of my home with one of these 8-foot tables that you guys saw. It was crammed in there, had a desk, had our vinyl plotter. It was a hot mess.
And then we moved down to the basement, so
Yeah.
that was a pretty big deal.
That was a huge
A lot
deal.
of space down there.
It was a big upgrade for you guys. To
Oh,
be able
yeah.
to go downstairs.
Moving on down.
Yeah,
as
exactly.
they
I think
say.
that's how the phrase goes. Exactly. Yeah.
It was on the east side of the house.
Well, perfect.
So
Yeah,
it
exactly.
was really, really nice. But so we had the basement at my house for a while. Then we ended up selling our house, and we needed a place to call home. And Phil, with his connection to Off the Line Performance, they were nice enough to sublease some space to us, and we're in the front of their building. And
Yep. They've been really welcoming. It's worked out. We get a lot of work through them, too. So
They put up some Lego walls.
Yeah, actually, we're in the front. I guess you want to call this the entryway, or it's kind of like the lobby.
For
waiting
sure,
area.
Yeah.
office lobby area.
Yeah, but you've got this very professional conference table in here, and you've got these super rad Lego walls,
yeah.
which I've never seen this before. So do you know where this came from? You guys didn't do this.
No,
Off
it
the
was-
Line did this, right?
It was Off the Line. They had seen a Kickstarter thing on Facebook for Everblock is the name of the company. And most people do like simple room dividers / front walls.
trade show displays.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So-
good for a
So
loft.
small scale kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
And so nobody had posted photos of a build like this. And Mike was like, I'm going to go with this. And so for the longest time, I'll be the first to admit, I thought it was a horrible idea. I thought there's no way that
Lego
this is
wall.
going to look professional or...
I was afraid to lean against it.
Yeah, you
like
should
I didn't
be.
know if it'd come crashing down.
That if you go towards one of the doors, you can't see because I'm pointing. but,
Audio medium.
Audio medium. But if you go over to one of the edges, it has some flex to it.
Oh, does it?
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say right here where I'm sitting, I'm kind of near the corner. It's
Well, the back
Seems
side
kinda
of that
substantial.
has actual desks built into it.
okay.
So, there's
So
extra
this is what's
support back there.
the desks back there are what's keeping this from falling down and killing
Well,
me.
and then
Is that
there's
what
a
you're
knee
saying?
wall going on.
Yeah, there's a wall coming off there, and then there's a wall that even continues over a little bit.
So it has some structure to it.
And it looks killer with the signage and the extra pieces added to it.
Did you do the extra pieces, or what are those?
Yep.
Well,
Is that metal? I'll take some pictures of that.
yeah,
Yeah, well.
we'll get some good photos. The sign is actually steel.
Okay.
Cut out by our friends over at. Sorry, friends. I feel horrible. Upcountry Fab.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Sorry.
I've heard of them. Even.
Yes, you guys should get a hold of them. They're good guys.
Who owns that?
There's two. There's the owner. His name's Matt.
Okay.
And then
We work
Alex,
with Alex.
is there also. Alex
Oh,
Buck.
okay. I went to high school with him.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
He's a good guy.
Okay. I don't really know him that well.
Well, I didn't know.
I'm not questioning his character. I'm just saying I don't know him that well. Or saying you're a liar. I just
Well,
I mean,
that could be. But so the pieces above our doors are also cut out of steel, and then the pieces above the window are a PVC.
PVC, and I hand cut those. But with the steel pieces, we set up the files, sent them over, and they CNC'd those out and brought them over.
so he's got to have some sort of CNC machine then. Over
Yeah,
there,
he's
'cause
got-
he
I
does
think
that.
it's a plasma table.
Yeah, it's a plasma
Yeah.
table.
Oh, okay.
We do need to make friends with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously. I mean, Alex, you're the man if you're listening. And then we printed the banner up above the lobby area there just to kind of give it some branding, which turned out fantastic.
Yeah,
and
that
the
looks-
canvases below.
Yep, the canvases we all printed in house.
Those are yours too.
Yep.
This stuff looks really cool. This whole. I mean, I've known Justin since before Off the Line.
Right.
You know, just through the Subaru group, and I mean, coming in here is pretty rad. You know, for him for this to be there. You know, Mike and Justin's space with all these cars in here, and you walk around and look at the license plates on the Subarus, and a lot of them aren't even from the state.
Tennessee, I
No.
saw.
A lot
Yeah.
of stuff
That's
comes
crazy.
through.
Yeah, there's stuff that comes through here from every corner of the nation, which is crazy to see. They've-
Because their business isn't that old either. How old is it?
I think they were
3
a
or
year ahead
4?
of us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. And this is not a small. It's not a small shop.
No, it's not. And I mean, there's ups and downs with everything. and
Absolutely.
they're doing really good right now, and that's awesome to see.
Yeah.
And it's good to see like-minded businesses working together in the sense that we do a lot of cross paths with them. Customers will bring in a car, see that we're here working on some stuff, and it works well for us.
Yeah. So your primary business then is vinyl related. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that.
Because you guys do. I mean, it seems like probably, if I was your perception, I guess it would probably be for doing the Subi Speed cars, their SEMA cars, and there's a picture of the what is that, a time attack car? I don't even know what they call that.
The FD86 Speed Factories. It's a time attack car that they were really hoping to get debuted at Road Atlanta for Grid Life. Had some issues come up with supplier issues, so it ended up not getting done for that. and it was one of those things that they were going to have to rush and get it finished.
Yeah.
But they wanted to take their time and do it right.
Yep.
So it should be hitting, I think is it Global Time Attack? Is that what they use?
Yeah.
Yeah, Global Time Attack is what they run, the WRX, and then that's actually Jeremy's BRZ, or
Yeah,
FD,
It's
whatever.
the Toyota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The original silver car that was.
Yes.
No, that one wasn't wrecked. Or was it wrecked?
I don't know.
The red one was sold and maybe totaled out, which would have been Yo's car,
Yes.
and they bought it back. I think Jeremy's car they always had.
Yes, this is Jeremy's. This is the car that started FD86.
Yeah. Yep.
Yo's car is still there. It's
Yep.
still got its livery. It's got its paint scheme. That's what I'm going to call it. That it's run for a few years. It's actually sitting in their shop right now, their fab shop, and
Okay.
it's just kind of taking up space. They've got some really cool stuff going there too.
Yep.
So
Yep. They got a lot of stuff that they're doing. So it's cool that you guys can connect with them and be able to put those designs together. And you guys actually design that graphically in-house, right?
correct. Yeah. It just was a fluke deal that turned into something.
How did you get connected with them?
Justin.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He had got a hold of Jeremy and said, "Hey, these guys are doing some really cool stuff with vinyl." And Jeremy said, "Well, come down and take a look at one of these cars." We went down and took a look at it, and
Yeah, it was actually, we got brought in for, it was the yellow car that they did the product demos on. So
Okay.
we were going to rewrap that for them, and that sat back, and we ended up getting brought in for the WRX, which was pretty exciting.
yeah, that deal came through. It was both SEMA cars have been 11th hour deals, I feel like. In the scheme
I
of
think
things,
that's SEMA in
Yeah, I
general.
was saying, does
Yeah.
anybody actually do SEMA, like, to think about it ahead? Like,
No one's building a
it's
SEMA car right
February,
now.
let's get ahead of the game. Let's get
Well,
our car ready.
and Justin was nice enough to explain what it was because he had some parts knowledge from working at DZ and whatnot. And he had said that the new products aren't out until SEMA. So they're getting debuted at SEMA. So to get new product, you're days out anyway.
Right, so you would have to have old product on the car then if you were going to, which doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So Ray's or whoever is going to, okay, here's our new wheel. We're going to send it to you 4 weeks before you're supposed to be at SEMA.
Exactly.
Which,
Yeah.
wheels aren't as big of a deal, but
Well, and with the initial Subi Speed car, the wheels were special, and they
Yeah.
did actually. They had taken photos, sent them to Japan of the car with the fitment with the wheels that were on it, and Japan was like, "We're sending you new wheels," because it
Oh, really?
the
Yeah,
fitment
they did a
was
last
not
minute
right.
change.
Oh.
Yeah, so they've had. I mean, they're crazy. It's been a great partnership that we've kind of developed.
do you find that fucking crazy that you have a SEMA car? I mean, it's not it's not
In
your
year
car, but
2,
you
we had a
designed it.
SEMA
I mean, is
car,
that
yeah.
is that
Yeah, it is. And especially last year, I'm not going to lie, we were super excited. We thought that thing was going to be sitting on the show floor. And then I had got there and we walked by the Ray's booth and it wasn't there. And I was thinking, oh, shit, did it not make it?
yeah.
Was it not good enough? And it was actually sitting out in the hallway, which gets tons of foot traffic. Don't get me wrong, but we were really hoping for it
In
to
the
be
Ray's
sitting
booth.
in the Ray's booth, right? And so it was like a slight letdown. And then I realized that we're year 2 of this thing, like going into our second year. That's huge. And then this year's SEMA car, Jeremy had worked with Ray's enough. They have a great working relationship, and they decided that they were going to put one of their cars in the booth this year. And it was Jeremy told him that the only way that they would do it is if it was in their booth.
Yeah, right.
And so to be in Central Hall at SEMA in a huge booth in our industry, it's huge.
They were really excited, especially the first time. Well, you guys were doing Mike's car from Off the Line with hopes and anticipation of being in SEMA.
Yeah.
And it kind of fell through the cracks, but then Subi Speed came to you. They were pumped. I was pumped for them.
So what was the deal with Justin's car? Where was it going to sit?
Mike's car?
Mike's
The
Or
Mike's
Mike's,
car?
Mike's car. Okay, sorry.
You want to? You can share the
Well,
story.
I can tell them where it's going to be, but you can share the story better. But it was going to be in Sony's booth for the audio system.
So it was the only audio system, high-res audio system in a car that uses all Sony components, which when, for whatever reason, people were using different components, speakers, amps, everything.
Yeah, just a limited number of the head units went out to people. And when they did their builds, he was the only one that did all Sony. Everybody was mix matching, Pioneer, and whatever else.
And that head unit now is a little over a year old, and it's still like top of the market, top of the line, unbeatable.
Yeah. It's crazy. I haven't actually got to hear a studio file go through it.
I have.
Phil has, but the actual studio file going through, for any of you audio nuts out there, I guess is something to give you wet dreams about.
He demoed Michael Jackson on it for me, and it's like you hear just all of the sound coming off the breath. You don't just hear the little breaths, you hear the sound almost like it's moist. It's amazing.
Oh man,
We're back here.
Triggered,
Yeah.
folks.
I was gonna
half
say
the people
people are
just
triggered
shut it
off
off.
that.
Yep, going to the next podcast now.
He didn't say
Worth it. It's totally worth it.
He didn't
It's a
say
good
that.
descriptor.
So your bread and butter then is automotive related, though. I mean, are you doing?
That's our preference.
Okay. Are you guys doing other stuff then too? Or?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
They both do a lot of design work on top, and Phil and Joe both like doing videography too.
Yeah, don't tell
Yeah.
anybody that.
They're kind of
That's-
just sitting there
Oh,
shaking
too
their
late.
heads.
Don't
So
solicit any
I'm filling
Well,
it.
and
I'm
since you're
filling it.
sitting here, you've really been our bread and butter with your lifestyle off-road. 'cause
Right.
all the stuff we print for you, and you keep us
I
going
try.
through the hard months.
Yeah. So Luke has been kind of on our radar since we started. The other place that we worked, Luke would service our printers. I've known Luke since we were in 3rd grade, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I met you as a printer tech.
Yeah, I work full time for Hewlett Packard and used to fix printers, servers, all sorts of stuff. And so I'd go to the sign shop, and Phil was kind of in charge of taking care of the big plotter that prints all the wraps and stuff.
Sorry, the dude who's next door.
His name's Larry.
Larry has got some crazy doesn't he have absolutely insane hot rods and shit over there?
Yeah, they do some pretty crazy stuff, but he's over there grinding. So if you
Yeah.
guys can
He's
hear that,
diagnostic for
You
sure.
can probably hear a little bit, but if everybody holds their microphone a little bit closer, I can kind of do some witchcraft with the mixer and make him go away a little bit more.
I'm
But
sorry,
it's
everyone.
okay.
It's my
But hey, we're in a shop though.
It fits
what do
the
you
scene.
expect?
That's all good.
Yeah,
Right.
in it, we are in a shop.
Larry has to be over there grinding, or else it just wouldn't be a day in the life of.
Hey, Larry's
us.
working at 7 p.m., so there's something to be said about
He's
Larry.
getting his hustle on.
He is
Larry
hustling.
needs his Christmas bonus.
Is that what it is? Larry's got some work
Is
that
Larry
needs to be done.
self-employed?
Larry is self-employed.
Okay, well,
So anyway, sorry I interrupted you. You were talking about the printer service tech and your relationship, but
Well, Phil, this thing was about to go out of warranty, and so Phil always was asking, what do I need to do to keep it running, kind of thing. To put some perspective on the guy they worked for, every time you stepped in foot of this building, he had to tell you how much he spent on all of his equipment. So to work for a guy like that,
he wants you to know that he has money and he's going to tell you every time you see him.
Yes, exactly.
He's that kind of guy.
He's a great gentleman that
it
got
was-
us through some hard times.
No,
So
he
was-
treated me really well, so
Yeah, he wasn't a bad guy,
I don't want
but
to dish too bad.
we're not saying names.
You guys are working for yourselves now, so
Right, yeah.
it is what it is.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So I had seen Luke at Bacon Fest, probably 4 years ago, and I said, "Hey, Phil and I have been kind of talking about starting our own thing. What do you think about this printer?" And he was like, "Oh, it's a good printer, you know." And so one thing kind of led to another, and Phil and I went out on our own, and one day Luke came in, and we're just here. It's like he just became an extension of us in a way, you know. It's just we do a lot of stuff with Lifestyle Off-Road and now 515 Racing. So
let's start with Lifestyle Off-Road. What is Lifestyle Off-Road?
I'm very similar to what Zion is, just on a smaller scale. I'm still in my basement, and they're in a shop.
But catering specifically to the off-road market then.
More or less.
Okay.
I mean, I/Zion does like real estate signs for friends and family and stuff like that. I can do T-shirts, hats, koozies. It's kind of unlimited to a degree, but basically I'm into off-roading, four-wheeling. That's kind of my go-to passion / hobby. And I worked in a sign shop straight out of college and hated doing design work for other people. Like making a furniture store sign is not very exciting. You drive by it once and it's kind of neat, and then
After that, the shininess of it wears
the
off.
glory, yeah.
Yeah.
So I bought myself a little vinyl plotter and would make a couple stickers for my own truck, and it just kind of spread from there. I'd go to an off-road meet, and this club would want a logo and stickers, or that club would want a logo and stickers, and this guy told that guy, and so on and so forth. And to be honest, the last couple of years, it's pretty much fully funded all of my trips and keeping my Xterra on the road and going. And
That's a lot of money, folks, because that Xterra is...
It's not a mild build, it looks
No,
like.
it's not.
No.
What's been done to the Xterra?
how much time do we have?
Get all the time in the
you
world.
want.
It is kind of funny because literally the only thing that has not come off of the truck is the actual motor. I've replaced the transmission, transfer case. I'm on my third transfer case.
Are you putting stock ones back in it, or are you upgrading,
Yes.
or are you breaking and then replacing? Or
So the transfer case is actually pretty good, but once it gets miles on it, the chain starts to stretch.
okay,
And then you put it in four low, and you get some torque, and it starts to slap
oh yeah,
and then skip. So that's happened twice. One was kind of my mistake because I bought a transfer case, and it's an automatic. I bought a transfer case for a manual, modified it, put it in my automatic, and it didn't last for long. But who knew, right? As it sits right now, it has factory. They come with independent front suspension. I cut all that off. I put a Dana 44 from a 91 Jeep Grand Wagoneer under the front.
Jesus.
It's
Holy
got
cow.
leaf springs from a Jeep Grand Wagoneer. It's got a Toyota 4Runner front bumper that I modified to fit. It's got rock sliders, skid plates. The rear axle's sitting on Chevy Suburban 3/4 ton springs. So it's got 35-inch tires, lockers front and rear, 513 gears, wrap that Zion printed and designed. At Sentra Spec V seats.
It has Sentra Spec V seats?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
They
Gotta
bolt.
get a little tuner culture.
Oh, yeah.
They bolt right into the factory Xterra seat bracket.
Really?
So
Now, are those the Nismo edition ones?
no,
You should-
just the SCR Spec V. I
should-
guess
Gotta
now
leave
they
room to
call it a
grow.
Nismo.
Yeah.
I guess.
What?
Room to grow is what we
Yeah.
decided.
Need
It's
some Sparkos or some brides in there.
No.
Oh, yeah,
that
dude,
would
get
be-
some brides.
Get some brides.
You need some brides with the Tacatas, man. You got to do it.
the problem
The
is
green ones
is
that are
when
down
you're,
to date.
when
The
you're
green
getting
Tacatas.
dirty and the seats have a high side bolster, you rip them. And then if you spend that much money on a seat, you get really pissed about
Yeah,
it.
so you get fakes from eBay, though. So you don't spend the real money on them.
Bro, you can't be telling people that.
Oh, we're
People do it.
very transparent.
Yeah,
Okay.
people do that shit.
All right,
all-
yeah.
Listen, if anybody does anything that we tell them to do on this podcast, they're doing that at their own
That's on them.
discretion
That's-
and
that's-
risk.
that's not us.
Good,
People,
good.
people that listen to this show have a little bit of a bullshit filter. I feel like, and if they don't, they're going to find out very quickly that a lot of things that we say are just,
If they haven't
to
figured
be
it out by
fun.
episode 96, they're not going to get it.
I don't know what to do at that point.
That's not on us.
Perhaps the Earth isn't flat.
No, I'm fairly certain it's not. But I don't know.
I'm just saying
It's
there's a lot
tough
of
to say.
conspiracy theories. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
There's just
see,
a lot of theories about how it's flat.
And now we're off the rails.
We take our drone up and we can't see any curve of the Earth. So
Right, exactly. If you take your drone up as high as it'll go,
it's
Appar-
flat.
yeah.
apparently
exactly.
they stopped that guy from launching his steamship rocket. Did you hear about that?
I did see that.
Apparently they stopped him, which means that he was onto something.
You
for
know
sure,
what's what's weird?
He
I
was
hate-
onto it,
well,
man.
So
and they stopped.
Here's
Got
the,
too
do you,
close, yeah.
Do you remember the BOB thing? That he was going to launch that rocket
Yeah.
and he had that
Yeah,
GoFundMe.
yeah.
That just kind of disappeared.
Weird.
Did you know about that?
Are we in
Rapper
conspiracy corny?
B.O.B.
We
No, I knew about him. I didn't know he was launching a rocket.
Yeah, so he started a GoFundMe or some sort of funding campaign to launch his own rocket. First of all, he chose a rocket and not a weather balloon.
a weather
which,
balloon
you know,
or something
whatever.
like.
Didn't you say it was steam powered?
Well, that was a different
it was
guy.
just-
This is a whole.
okay.
These are
He didn't even
multiple
go weather
people
balloon.
are
Multiple
launching
building
rockets trying to
Okay.
prove that the
He
world
went
is
straight to
flat.
rocket. Yeah, B.O.B. the rocket scientist. He's going to build a rocket. But the weird thing is, it just disappeared. Like he was he was making this big deal. He made all these headlines that he was going to do this, and then it just.
Is he
Oh, I'm
on the
not,
rocket?
I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah, but he got all that money, so everybody else is a bunch of suckers. Just
That, but you know what the conspiracy theorists are going to say?
The government shut him down,
The
man.
government paid him off.
He got too close.
Now he's a
He
government
got
shill.
too close.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He got too close.
It's
Man.
government
He learned
shill.
about the dolphins or whatever. What is it? No, it's an ice wall. It's the ice wall. Don't you know about this? That's part of the theory.
ice wall. That's
If
what
you-
keeps the water in.
Yeah, but if you try to
There's
get
an
too
ice wall.
close to it, there's like
That was
SWAT
Game of
attack
Thrones. wasn't it?
helicopters that come out.
No, this
The
is
ice wall?
no. This is a legitimate thing to these people.
I've not heard the ice wall.
The ice wall is
What?
what keeps the water from falling off the edge of the flat Earth.
and you can't go near it. You can't attempt to go near it because the government will shoot you
with attack dolphins.
and helicopters. I'm not making this up. I mean,
Well,
somebody's making it up.
We're not.
Somebody believes
we're
it.
just passing.
I'm
it
reporting on
I
it.
have a deep rabbit hole to go down to.
You can go
on.
wherever you
YouTube's a
want to.
dangerous place, man. That's all I'm
Phil
saying.
is going to straight go down that rabbit hole tonight.
Did you see that meme where Elon Musk was asking about Mars?
Yeah, why is there a flat Mars
Yeah.
society?
Yeah.
That was his.
Yeah, and the response from the Flat Earth Society was, well, that's been proven that it's round.
Yeah.
Duh.
It's obvious.
Duh,
You can see
you
it.
can see
It's
that it's
obvious.
So Earth is just unique in its flatness.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right.
Well, it's because everything's rotating around it. That's why
Yeah,
it's
there's like a
because we're the
there's,
center of the universe.
Right, exactly.
there's a
Right.
map where it's flat, and then there's like a pattern of the sun, and it does the thing where it
That's
goes down, and then it
super
comes back up,
confusing.
and that's how you get
That's the point. Like if you can't make sense of it, you'll never be able to disprove
It's
it.
summer when the sun's closer, and then when the sun's farther away, it's winter.
You guys, I don't know what we just got into.
We haven't even got to Planet X yet.
This is
I want
our
to know about
Facebook-
Planet. No, I
This
heard
is our
about Planet
Facebook
X this
group
week.
every single
yeah.
day. Welcome to
There's
our life,
nothing
you
to
know.
do with cars on that Facebook group. It is all about what is it? It's conspiracy
No,
theories,
because they share cars that we can't afford, but they think we need to buy,
right? You
and
should buy
conspiracy
this.
theories.
Listen, you know how your friends send you shit that you should buy? You're like, hey, dude, you should buy the Craigslist listings.
Yeah.
Think if like
Yeah, Joe did that to me.
150 people were doing that every day.
Holy shit.
Have you guys ever seen that
This
obscure
just
cars
really
for
happened.
sale? That obscure cars for sale
No,
group
I
on
haven't seen
Facebook. Anytime someone posts an 80s Dodge product, at least one person tags me in it. People I've never met in my entire life.
There's people that join that group to tag him in 80s Dodge stuff. That's all. And then we
do-
never hear from him again.
I do see Adam
Send me a
tagged
link.
way
I
more
want in
than
on
anyone
this.
else.
Robbie got
got
like
three
three
today.
of them today, like Nissans.
Oh my god.
This is our
$15,000 Nissan.
Yeah, but they're all cherry JDM cars that I wouldn't want.
So
You can't
Justin,
modify those.
No,
What's the point?
I wouldn't want to.
Justin had showed us a few weeks ago that old CIA van.
Oh, yeah, that was a couple months ago.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
like
I remember
straight
that.
up a CIA.
I remember
FBI
that.
surveillance.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was legitimately out of operation
Yeah,
from
that
the
was
CIA.
on
yeah.
eBay, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on eBay.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
sold cheap.
And then the guy that bought it did an actual walk around on YouTube.
Did he really?
Yeah, so it was
Did
all the original.
It couldn't have had equipment in it.
Oh, it did.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
it
was
did.
all- it was
Yeah, it
all
had
functional.
like radio. I almost did an opener on it, and then I forgot about it.
You gotta be
That
shit. How could they
sounds
sell
normal.
that?
Well, it's
I
just
don't know.
obsolete
Like it
equipment.
was like a '70s van.
Oh,
Don't.
no,
we're
it
not.
was- It had to be 80s. Like it looked
I
like
don't know.
it,
It
could
was
have been
well
straight
out of.
Stranger
It was
Things.
well out of commission, though.
That's really
It
weird.
wasn't
though.
anything recent.
That seems still like they might want to destroy that stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. Phil's got wigwags on his
Yeah.
Crown Vic.
The fuck are wigwags?
The flashy
The
lights.
strobes?
Flashing
No,
lights.
you don't.
It's my wife's car.
They
for
left
some
them on
reason,
there?
She likes Crown
Well-
Vics, and her last one was a Polk County security vehicle, and they usually decommission those. But
They forgot.
Phil
this one
knows
had it.
that.
We were doing the test drive, and the switch is still under the dash.
Yeah.
So we're driving around, and I'm hitting the switch. I'm like, what
the fuck's
is
this do?
this? So we get back, and I asked the guy. He's like, oh, that's got the strobe lights in it.
if
So he
anybody
showed it
needs a
to us,
Crown
and
Vic,
that
Phil's
pretty
got
much
one for
sold the
sale.
car.
So what you're saying is, if you need to do some sort of cross country driving experience,
I don't know.
I don't know.
We've-
though. Would
we've-
you pull over for a Crown Vic anymore?
We're on a
Dude,
first
I
name
saw a
basis
Des Moines
with Alex
Crown
Roy.
Vic.
We can make that happen.
If you're high enough, you'll pull over for anything that flashes.
I saw Des Moines has Crown Vic still.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
they do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw one yesterday.
Nevada.
Well, it's-
up until recently,
yeah.
they were using one. I'm pretty sure the police chief just bought it and drives it every day now.
He probably liked it. He's like, ah, fuck it, I want
yeah.
this.
It's like kind of like when you have a service dog, you get to take it with you because it's yours. Yeah,
I guess I'm just too used to the Explorers and the Chargers.
Nothing makes me more mad than suburban house moms and white Explorers.
Oh, it's the absolute worst.
That should not be a thing.
Every day I drive down 235. I'm like, what is that? Even the blue ones. I'm like, what?
Well, some of them have like the black on the bumper. It's all white and it's black on the bumper. So you're like, nope, that's the little push
So either
bar.
this is
screwed.
this is a cheapskate because he bought the base model, or it's an undercover police officer.
I think that's it. Well,
It's interesting though, because with the Crown Vic, and people still respond to it. When you drive on the interstate, you have so much buffer room around you.
Really?
Nobody wants to pass you.
behind
No
you.
one's.
when's the last time you passed a Crown Vic?
Well, actually, I'll tell you, it was on 235 because the guy got a license plate that says "not a cop."
I've seen that. I've seen that.
I'm sure he was sick of getting stuck behind people. Driving 2 miles an hour under the speed limit. They're not passing each other. They're right next to each other.
That's awesome.
That is
We're
funny.
taking 2 lanes and you're just stuck behind someone
That's-
doing
yeah.
56 miles an hour.
He got sick of it.
Now that we're on this rabbit hole, Phil and I saw one of the new Traverses today. That would make a pretty sweet police car.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is
they
that?
changed
Why?
the design on them.
A little more aggressive than
Yeah.
this.
Like, okay, so I feel like the what is it, the Explorer kind of looks minivan-y now.
Okay.
Yeah.
This thing
It's pretty.
looks kind of
sweet.
mean.
Did you see the Explorer at SEMA though?
Which one?
Well, okay, I've seen Explorer and some people said Expedition, and they put a roof rack on it. It was lifted. It
I
looked
think
like
it's
it
new
could.
Expedition.
Okay, maybe it was, but it kind of looked
There's
like an
Expedition
Explorer.
still.
Yeah, they still make Expedition.
They still
They've
make an
got the
Expedition.
EcoBoost.
Huh.
Yeah, let me go through my photos. It might
knew?
be there.
I have no idea why they make. I mean, they must be selling Expedition.
Is it still like a body on frame, like a truck?
Yeah.
Is it really?
But I think it has independent rear suspension because it doesn't tow anything.
That's weird.
The tow rating was like 6,000 pounds. I was looking at
Why
them.
bother?
What?
Robbie's
Why,
like, I could.
I was like, why bother?
why wouldn't you buy a Tahoe then, or a Suburban?
Maybe he hates
What kind of
Chevys.
Tahoe pull?
8,000 or 9,000 because I looked it up.
That's
I was going
better.
to say, yeah.
I think
it's just
actually
a-
like an Armada can even pull that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go, Robbie. Get an Armada.
I'm a big
Keep it in the
EcoBoost
family,
fan,
Robbie.
so anything with an EcoBoost I was looking at, and the Expedition wouldn't pull my Xterras, so we got an F-150.
Have you done any tuning on the EcoBoost?
No,
Okay.
it's my wife's daily driver,
Okay.
and she drives literally a mile every day, so I can't spend the money.
To mess with it.
Yeah.
You guys probably know him too, but Graham now he's out of Chicago doing he's got his F-150 that he's tuned, obviously because he's a tuner.
Right.
But yeah, I think he said it makes like 500 horsepower now or something crazy.
An intercooler will get you like 50 wheel horse. It's
They got those things way tuned down.
no, seriously,
really
they're
do.
nuts.
My old boss drove one, and he'd fire it up and drive all, because where I used to work, we had a storage unit, and he'd just race down between the storage units and turn around and come back for no reason at all. He could have just exited stage left and gone right out the driveway, but he could listen. This is like a 70-year-old man could like listen to his turbo spool going down. He'd roll the windows down and just race to the other end and back again every single day.
There's nothing sexier than that sound.
It's
the
cool.
turbo
Don't get me
sound.
wrong.
Yeah.
The exhaust sound.
Oh, no. That's
Is awful.
Because I'm in all sorts of EcoBoost groups, and every day there's like 7 posts of what exhaust sounds good. And every day somebody will say none of them, and then they'll still cut the muffler off and go, why does it sound so raspy? Well, it's a V6. So,
Justin Pollock was talking about getting another FC and putting an EcoBoost in it.
That'd be pretty
3.5
sweet.
EcoBoost. Yeah. Everybody's like, why don't you LS swap it? I'm like, it's because it's sponsored by Roush. Maybe you should put those
Right.
two together.
Yeah, let it
I've got
happen.
a 65 Mustang Coupe that I think would be awesome to have an EcoBoost in it.
You've got one now, or
Yeah.
you?
I've got it. Well, I've got it when I was 16.
Oh, okay.
Nobody's actually seen the car in like 2 years.
But it exists.
Yeah,
I've
it
seen
exists.
parts of the car.
Yeah, I've got fenders, doors. I mean, from
it's
the
not a complete. It's a
No.
complete car, but it's not together.
Yeah, it's a shell.
Some assembly required.
A lot of assembly required. I got it for my 16th birthday. My dad and one of his friends started cutting on it. And so they're cutting the rust out of it, just like every other Mustang in the state of Iowa. From the firewall forward, needed to be replaced. Floor pans. I mean, it was tore apart. I've got totes for days at my parents' house. But But I always thought that would be kind of a fun thing to put in there.
What did Gas Monkey? What's the white car they built and put an EcoBoost in?
The Pantera?
Yes.
Yeah.
They
That.
put an EcoBoost in a Pantera.
Yeah.
Yes, and then SCT tuned it, and it's at like 500 horsepower.
Yeah.
It's the horsepower and torque numbers are like identical. It's like 492 for both of them. Because God, I can't say that. SCT just put out a video of them tuning it, and it was actually pretty neat to watch. They put like a big roof scoop on it to shove air into the intercooler.
Yeah.
But it was a really neat car.
They actually had it on display last year at SEMA, and on the board, or like on the floor, they like chipped the paint. And so they put a sign right behind it just to cover up the
Who chipped? They chipped it unloading.
somebody that was setting up the booth that it was in.
Oh,
I'm trying to
shit.
see.
Can you imagine?
That's an awkward conversation.
Like, oh,
hey, man.
Somebody
Sorry.
straight lost a job.
I
on
worked
that
at a
deal.
dealership. I've scratched a few cars and had that conversation, but SEMA is a whole different ballgame.
People will lose their shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there some real ratty shit there? Like stuff you're like, this guy painted this in the dark.
In the gravel.
In the but you kind of have to be. I mean, it's all about perception, right? So
Yeah.
we could probably see it, but some people are like, oh, it's fucking cool. Like the thing with the roll bar that was on top of the guy's seat. Like,
Yeah.
just stupid shit
Yeah,
like that.
there's some of that.
Are you talking about at SEMA?
Yeah.
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 that is
At
sweet.
SEMA,
We're looking at.
there's some stuff that
Pan-
Well,
Pantera.
then, like with the wraps we did for Subi Speed, like I'm so anal about what I do, and like
We've seen the wrapped car in here. That's an impressively
Can you send that to Rob?
detail-oriented job.
when you're like that, everything that is an imperfection,
Oh, I
it's
get it.
amplified in your mind. So
We've
like
talked about
I
this
know all
before
these
on the
little
show.
things. So I think we did a good job, and it went out to SEMA, and then Joe actually went out that first year
I went
and
out
reported back.
that it was a shit show.
Not our car.
Not our car.
In comparison,
It just there's a quality thing, and as a company, we said that we were going to push quality over quantity, and some of the quality stuff out there was crazy, and there was this year I noticed it even more, just because Luke's on his phone. Turn your speaker off. There was a big name company that had a car that had been wrapped, that had seams where seams shouldn't be placed, and it opened our eyes to the level of craftsmanship that Phil is doing when he wraps these cars. I help.
don't single me out.
Sorry.
I hate that.
He hates that. Sometimes I'm Ralph
That we
from
do.
The Simpsons, and I'm like, I helped, but it's just there's a level of craftsmanship that we like to push, and not everybody shares that.
They actually had a customer. Was that bright metallic blue on a WRX?
Yes.
They wrapped this car.
Subaru.
It was silver, and they wrapped it like a bright metallic blue.
Okay.
The customer would get upset at like car shows and different things because people didn't believe him that it was wrapped. So he wanted actually to come back and get more stuff put on it because it looked similar to the Subaru blue, but it was a shade lighter.
Yeah.
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 And when they do a wrap, I mean, the door jambs get done, under the trunk gets done where you can see. I mean, you really don't think that it's wrapped.
Not all of those happen.
If you pay
that's it,
enough
because-
money,
yes,
they will
there
go
you
to
go.
that amount of detail.
Well, that specific car, I was just trying to challenge myself and push myself a little further. And I did the underside of the hood. I did the underside
Holy shit,
of
you
the
did-
trunk lid. I did the hood hinges.
Oh my
And in
God.
retrospect, I don't think I'd do that again. There was some issues inside of the trunk, and
So basically,
But
you
when
just
the car
don't do the
shut up, it
firewall
looks-
at that
looks
point.
great.
That's the only thing that's
Right,
not
yeah.
done.
the goal was everything I could see.
No.
Well, when we do our car,
When we do our car, yeah.
You're going to pull your motor and wrap the firewall?
No.
Well, now it's
Mike
in
was
his
actually
head.
trying
Yeah.
to get me to do that on his
was.
car. Yeah.
It's, a guy who can pull a Subaru motor. I bet they can do it pretty quick.
I know a guy that paints too. So.
There you, well,
Yeah,
yeah,
there you
need
go.
him.
Can we talk about your shop car? To some
If you
extent?
want,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So first of all,
Which
you've
one?
got a C10.
Yeah, my dad and I have a C10. My dad actually picked it up, and we stole it from him and put our logo on it. Shh, don't tell anybody. But we have had that for a few years. We've run a couple different logos on it.
Yeah.
And sorry, I just making sure that everybody can hear me.
Yeah.
We're good with that. We've got the 70 C10, and then we've got
Well, real quick, we took the C10 to
Ice Cream Cruise. Yeah, our first year we went over to Ice Cream Cruise, which you guys talk about quite a bit. It's a fun event. We placed top 50 out of all those cars that first year.
What year is it?
1970.
70 step side.
Yep. So it's not a fleet side like everybody wants. I feel like it's the redheaded stepchild of the C10 community right
But
now.
I don't understand. Why don't people want step sides?
I don't know.
Because it's already it's a short box.
I'm not a step side guy. I don't
Really?
like. I would much rather have a fleet side truck than a
Man,
step
But you
side.
can't
Have you
find.
seen our truck?
I have seen your truck, and it's a good looking
Our
truck.
truck
Don't
is
get me
sexy.
wrong. But if I was,
It is
Is damn sexy.
it is a sexy curvy woman.
no, it is. It's
what
a good
that
looking
is.
truck. But if I was going to go and buy one of my own, it would for sure be fleet.
Here's my thing with it. Okay, so people, the argument I've heard is that it's not as practical, but my argument is, what are you putting in the back of your show truck?
Nothing.
Right, exactly. So who cares?
Well, this has a spray and bed liner in it. Like the guy that we bought the truck from put a lot of time and effort into it. Stylistically, we've made some changes, but as soon as Dad bought the truck, we've pretty much kept it the way that the guy built it. And it's one of those things that I can get in and we can go to a Cars and Coffee event, and it's nice. It's got vintage air in it. It's got Bluetooth. It's got creature comforts that most cars don't have, and it's fun to get in, and you get looks wherever you go.
Yeah.
It's the perfect vehicle.
It
It's
is.
exactly what everybody wants.
Did you see our C20? Because my dad's got a C20, and it is also a 70, but it's a GMC.
No, I have not.
Okay, I brought it one time to Cars and Coffee. I don't know if you may
Is
not
it
have been.
similar to Rusty's blue GMC?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know if I've seen his.
I was going to say,
Oh no,
the
wait a
only
minute.
car I know
It's
of Rusty's
his
is
custom. His custom homes.
Yeah.
Yes, because his is a long bed, but
Yep.
it's a half ton, I
Yep.
think. Yeah, so it would be very similar to his.
No, I think it's just a short box too.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a fleet side.
Yeah. So this would be a long bed,
No,
but
even better.
people are all like,
You can haul all sorts of stuff with that.
well, yeah, absolutely. It's not a show truck though. It's actually it's all original, and I say that in air quotes because when it was original, it had no power steering, no power brakes, no air conditioning.
Right.
And it was a 4-speed with a granny first, which means it was impossible to drive. I mean, not impossible to drive, but it was.
You use second.
You start in second.
Almost
Well, you always start in
exclusively.
second, but my point was if you they live out on a county highway.
Okay.
So to take that out on a county highway, no power steering, no power brakes, no rack and pinion, it was like a death machine because you could spin that wheel a quarter of a turn and nothing would happen. So it would start to go off and you were imminent death. That panic would start to rise where I'm putting in steering input and nothing's happening and
Right.
we're still going off the road, and then you would have your panic attack. So he found I think it was like a 70 Cheyenne, which would have been the top trim level,
Right.
trashed. It was completely rusty because it was an Iowa truck. And he took out power steering, power brakes, air conditioning, put all that stuff in there.
Nice.
And those have, so I don't know if, does yours has vintage air? Is that
Yeah.
what you said?
Yep.
So the original ones had these air vents in the dash.
Okay.
And so to put them in, you have to cut the dash, which people would probably have a complete panic attack if they knew that. But everybody thinks it's a original 4-speed power steering, power brakes, air conditioning truck. And I don't correct people at Good Guys because it's not worth the conversation.
it really
yeah.
isn't.
Oh yeah, yep. It's got the original. It says Don Byers, which is the dealership it came from, on the air cleaner still.
Oh,
And
nice.
The engine's orange and it's got most of the stuff on it still, so it does look original, but it's not. But
Dad's got a numbers match 70 Chevelle SS 396 car. Numbers matching.
see, that's my muscle car to end all muscle cars.
Is
The
it?
454, but the LS6, but they made like 50 of those. So I mean, but you can reasonably, in air quotes, get a 396. It's still
Yeah.
a highly desirable
Yeah, reasonably.
car.
So Dad's had that car since 94. He pulled it out of a Quonset hut up in Radcliffe, Iowa.
He probably got it for a deal because nobody wanted those things back then.
Yeah. Tell my mom that back in the day.
She thought it was a lot of
money
money.
was tight,
Oh, I know.
and so it was like,
was a
oh,
big
I'm going to
deal.
come home with this muscle car.
It's a gorgeous car too.
It's the car that I learned how to drive in.
Oh, really?
And
Yeah,
when
I
he
think
drove
you
it
were with
around,
me.
everybody was super jealous because he's driving like this mint 70 Chevelle, and
Interior's a little rough. It had
Yeah.
mice in it. I mean, but it's still that way. Dad said
Still has mice in it?
No mice.
It keeps
Well,
the mice in
maybe.
there.
Just
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
It's got, rips in the seats. Dad said
Yeah.
if I ever get in it with a screwdriver in my back pocket, I don't want to feel bad for ripping the interior out.
Yeah.
So he wanted a car that he could drive, and that's what he got. Now, that being said, I haven't seen the car in 3 years. It's been sitting in storage. So my goal this year is to get it out with him and have him come to at least one Cars and Coffee so we have both cars there.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be sweet.
when I was maybe 15 or 16, Joe and I used to ride BMX bikes all over the place, and I rode my bike to his house, and he wasn't there. So his dad goes, "I'm going to go for a ride in the Chevelle. Do you want to go?" Well, you don't pass that up. So we go out in the middle of the country, which realistically was probably now the middle of Ankeny. That was the only automatic I've ever ridden in, though, where when you shifted the gears, you did a burnout. So he started in first and punched it, and it was one of those movie burnouts where, like, the tail kicks out, shifts into second, it lays another 2 stripes down, shifts into third, and I couldn't stop smiling all the way back to the house because it was so amazing. I mean, the car it sounds good, it looks good, it's an awesome car.
They don't make them like they used to.
No, that's
really
for sure. Now you can't even shift your automatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're taking that control away, too. So you've got a Subaru problem as well.
Yeah, we kind of do. I think that just came naturally with where we're at, sharing shop space. One turned into 2, turned into 3.
So maybe you deal with all these guys off the line and Subi Speed, but you're kind of not a Subaru. I mean, you're not a Subaru shop, obviously.
No.
You guys don't work on anything.
Right.
What's up with the Subaru thing around here? Can you explain it is like a phenomenon. It is a cult.
All-wheel drive, bro.
It's a cult. Is it, and
It's not just around here, though. It's
is it not just?
No.
It seems like
there's
it's bad
pockets
around
everywhere.
here. And I say bad in quotes. I mean, it just seems like it's
Infestation?
more prevalent.
Is that what you were
It
kinda
just
going
seems
for?
That's
way
probably the right
more
word.
prevalent here than other markets. But you think about, okay, so we have Subi Speed here, we have Off the Line here. Graham used to be here, and
Right.
he moved to Chicago or whatever. But I mean, are those places, like if I went over to Omaha, or all those places over there in Omaha, and then if I went to, I mean, they're not in Sioux Falls.
For some reason, I hear about a lot more like Subaru focused shops than I hear any other specific brand.
Right.
Yeah, because our buddy that
Josh.
won the tank, he has.
Yep, he'll work on anything.
Yeah.
But he is a Subaru guy, and I think a large portion of his customer volume is Subarus, and he's in Utah.
Yeah.
The Subaru engine is fairly unique, so
Right.
it takes a lot of specialized knowledge to work on a Subaru.
But you don't hear. There's never a Subaru shop who specializes in factory repairs.
Right.
They're all building
Well, what fun is
900
that?
horsepower monsters. So
I think that we're reaching a point in a generational thing where these kids that saw that WRX that had that World Rally Blue gold wheels poster hanging on their wall, that is their Countach, right? So they can afford their Countach now.
Yeah.
But did
So-
someone have a poster of a Subaru hanging on their wall? Is
Have
that
you
a
not
22
ever
thing?
seen
22Bs? Yeah, I would.
Colin McRae just spraying gravel behind
Yeah, I
it?
have, but I didn't have it on my wall.
When I was
You grew up in
Boyz
a
II
drag
Men on
race.
your
Yeah,
wall.
you
No, that's not true. No, I grew up in a muscle car family.
Okay.
Despite
So-
the fact that I've strayed far from that.
It's all good.
That's what ended up on my wall.
No, I just think that it's an affordable car that there are a lot of parts for. It is. I'm going to probably catch hell for saying it, but it's kind of that Civic effect, right? Because
It's absolutely the modern day Civic.
because there are so many things that can be added onto a car. You can have style things and you cannot have performance, or you can have performance and not do style. It's just a universal thing. So I like apple juice. You like orange juice, but we both like Subarus, bro.
Well, and I think it helps that they're like Lego bricks, just like the Hondas were when we were 15 to 17 years old. You buy a Subaru, and you can put parts from all of these other Subarus onto your Subaru, you know? And I think that helps build an enthusiast culture around that car.
I think that's why Nissans are more popular in other markets, because they'll have sedans that use S chassis, you know, front A arms or whatever, and so you can swap shit around, or you can swap motors, or, you know, I think that's why Nissan's really popular in Australia and Japan, because they have all those options, whereas we never got any of that stuff. We hardly got S chassis here.
Well, and I think for around here, where we have a winter, it's the fast car that you don't have to put away for 6 months out of the year, because
That's a
it
good
is
point,
all-wheel
too.
drive.
I just want to clarify, everybody that's listening, I don't think that Subarus are Hondas.
Oh no, don't worry.
He
We've
has
already
three of
pissed off all of our Honda owner listenership. We've already pissed all of our Subaru owner listenership.
Do you
off
remember
long ago?
This
Don't
is
worry.
random.
Okay,
Do you
good.
remember Chappelle Show? Did you
Yeah,
watch
yeah,
Chappelle
yeah.
Show?
Oh, yeah.
Equal opportunity offender.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, this is what this podcast.
That's
Everybody's
what we
going to get offended.
All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I just, for our Zion's sake.
Zion takes a
They're pro
unbiased. They're
Yeah.
How do we say this?
Yeah.
Your middle of the road stance.
Yes.
You're all inclusive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I think that's right, Luke. I think that, you know, you can have a fast Subaru and you can go out and play in the snow, you know, whereas some of these guys are afraid to go out and do things.
But there does seem to be pockets of popularity.
I think that's
Like
where
what-
it snows.
Yeah. Because, like, well, Denver or here, Chicago, Maryland, they all have big Subaru
Wisconsin,
speed shops.
Utah.
Wisconsin, yeah. I went to the Subaru Nationals with them, and it seemed kind of nichey because it was like each city had its own following. But to see a four-door car, granted, I mean, it was super highly modified, but it did like 8.5 in the quarter mile at 170 miles an hour. It was pretty cool to see a little four-door Subaru do that. Or even like the ones here in the off-the-line shop, they were still doing 10-second quarter miles, and you could drive it down the street and nobody'd even look twice at it kind of thing.
There's a decent number of low 10-second Subarus in this town.
There is. And, you know, that's a credit to builders, tuners. They all do great work. And it's amazing to see the things that come out of shops like this and other people's shops. It's crazy to think that there is this in this market.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, we were talking before we started about the Des Moines automotive market, or I guess maybe not the market, but the companies that exist here
The
that
reach
support
that-
the aftermarket, and we so it's really weird. So we got on the media list for PRI, which
Right.
I guess I didn't think was anything.
Apparently it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I didn't. Somebody thinks this is
Congratulations.
legitimate. I don't know, but so anyway,
they're not sitting here though.
no, none of these people. These people are like, well, who are these riffraff coming in here, and why do they want to do this podcast? No, but so we got reached out to by a couple companies, and they're like, hey, our shop's in Des Moines, and I was like, that's not possible. I would have heard of you if you're in Des Moines. So I look them up. They're literally 6 blocks from where my office is.
Really?
I was like, how's that shit happen? Like, you just don't know that. And they represent. So this is an international company, and they represent the whole country.
Really?
So
And they're based out
their
of
headquarters is on Fleming.
Wow.
Over in Des Moines. It's just like, you know. And then there's Putco, or not Putco, but
DZ.
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 Putco's here also.
Or yeah,
Yeah,
I was
Putco's
thinking of Cutco, not Putco.
No, it's Putco.
Those are knives. And then there's another company up in Ankeny that does electronics and fans for
Spall.
Yep.
Spall.
Spall's here.
Cummins.
Creative Works has their side of things. They do a lot of stuff in the automotive market,
Yeah.
which is great. And they're over on Fleming also.
That's actually who it was. Yeah.
The
Oh, yeah, that's
Okay.
who reached out to
GC.
us.
GC, yeah.
Yep.
Preston get a hold of you?
No.
No,
Is there
it's
somebody
some
else?
PR
With that?
guy.
No. Is that who runs Creative Works?
Yeah, Bob.
We know they have one of their representatives.
I think it's a PR firm.
Yeah,
Okay.
that reached out
we
to
talked
us
to it,
on
but
their
yeah,
behalf.
they're like, hey, you know, the GC cooling fan. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, they're great guys. We we did stuff this week for their PRI booth.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Monday. Yeah,
Small world.
Weird as shit, man.
Well, Justin used to work over
yeah.
there.
Justin used to work at Creative
really?
Works.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
What a small world.
yeah. This
Yeah, he
And
used to
by the way, we're
design.
all going out to Indianapolis to meet each other. Meanwhile, I could have just knocked on the door,
Right.
somebody, hanging.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
no doubt. Yeah, well, they actually started. OTL started right next door to Bob.
Oh, is that where their old shop was?
Yeah,
Was over
they were
there?
on Fleming there,
I knew
too.
I knew that you were close because I'm on just off 14th, so I knew you guys were a little closer. And then you had the incident that caused you to move. But
Yeah.
was that in this building?
The fire?
Yeah.
No, thermal event.
Okay.
So the thermal event happened in this building.
Oh, I did. Okay.
before any of us,
Before we
yeah.
were here. and,
Oh, okay. Okay.
the guys at the very end, United Classics, they had like a shop full of classic cars that were like show ready worthy.
full restorations.
Yeah. And
Expensive
Jackson cars.
Barrett Jackson cars.
yeah. And it went up in flames. There was a shop that mixed paint and whatnot for automotive use, and it spontaneously combust. And somebody lost their life, which is horrible.
Oh, really? Somebody?
yeah.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
that's terrible.
And so, so this building that we're in is actually brand new-ish, like less than 3 years old.
Okay.
So the building was rebuilt. Up until a month ago, one of the burned out shells was out back,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
which was really sad to see.
Yeah.
And actually, the owner of the company was out of town at the time, and so he didn't believe that it was actually a thing, and it was. So
Thought
he
it
had
was
to
a
come back.
horrible prank.
Yeah.
People were messing
Yeah,
with him.
could you imagine? But yeah, so their lease was up over on Fleming, and they found this place, and ever since then it's
Yeah.
just been good.
They
Yeah.
grew a lot faster than they expected to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you guys have
Oh, shop car. Sorry.
a bug
Shiny.
eye.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Shiny.
See, that's what this
This is
show's
what
like.
happens. And this is why we end up with
30 minutes
3-hour
of
shows.
bullshit, and then you come back to what we were
We have
talking
an
about.
O2 Impreza
Okay.
WRX.
Yeah.
Are you going
all
to? You gonna do a closed deck then? You gonna do the whole deal?
Okay.
No, I think we're starting with just gonna keep it simple, do some visual things so we can take it to shows, demonstrate what we do for people, and
we are going to run the coils that Off the Line sells.
Okay.
Their own branded coils that they've made, which is fantastic. It's been a huge thing for the market. Potentially do an E85 conversion on it.
my plan
which-
is coils, E85, possibly upgrade the turbo.
Okay.
Just run it like that for a while.
But this is really going to be a show car because it's really a piece for your business. It's not.
It's
Yeah.
promotional.
Are you gonna? I mean, you're not gonna do any sort of racing or anything with it, right?
Maybe.
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 What are you guys working on?
Phil's nephew has a non-turbo
Yeah,
GC that he takes to like Subaru Nationals and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
To drive, and
He was the only non-turbo car in Nationals, and he was the way he trees. Like, if he had a turbo car, he would have been taking. some
He was
people.
beating
Kept them
turbo
honest.
cars through the 8th, if not a little more.
Yeah.
It was incredible. He's
So, like,
18?
did those guys go
Yeah.
home after they got beat
Well,
by
he
a
just turned
non-turbo car?
19.
well, they didn't get beat, but he kept them honest.
Oh, because they were doing a quarter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
He
pretty
had 'em up
exciting
through
to
the eighth,
watch.
though. Mm.
Yeah,
So we're
he's-
thinking if we put him in a turbo car,
Okay,
That'll be
but
fun.
Might be
you guys
kinda
are
fun.
thinking drag racing.
But
then.
he wants to legitimately do rallycross though.
yeah, he's building that car into a rally car,
Oh,
like
okay.
a full-fledged.
And you can't have a turbo to get into rallycross.
Yeah.
So that's why he chose the car he did. He's just taking it to different drag events, and
It's
he's
fun.
he's super fun to watch because the excitement you get over watching this turbo car get beat through with this
half the
non-turbo-
quarter. Yeah.
Right.
He's a really good driver. I was impressed the first time that I saw him go, but
So that might be a potential thing. I mean, it's just fun is
Yeah.
what we want to have with it. I mean, we want to use it as an advertising piece, but we want to have fun in it. And
You guys have been fortunate enough to do, I mean, have your name on a lot of different cars, which has been great for your business reach. So
Right. And that's kind of how we've advertised.
Yeah,
is
that's
through
really
our-
the only marketing. We're terrible with marketing.
Yeah,
we
we
haven't
really are.
done
Like,
anything. It just
For
spreads.
2 weeks, we were like super high on Instagram, and sorry everyone if you've missed out on that. 'Cause this week it's been a little slow, but we're trying to keep our presence up there and whatnot. But
I think it's good. I mean, it's good for people to see you guys doing different things, I guess, or different, because
Right.
that sparks ideas of, maybe I do want to wrap that, or I want to put stripes on this, or I want to, it'd be cool to do some logos or something like that. People see that stuff. It's good for ideas.
right, and we really do enjoy doing the design side of things.
So what do you design in? What program is it?
Adobe Illustrator is what we do probably 90% of our work in.
I mean, your design. Do you do most of the design work, Joe, or
it's about 50-50.
is it okay?
No, you're probably 75.
Okay, it's 75-25.
They're both so modest.
Yeah, they are.
No, it's you.
here?
No,
What
it's you,
happens in
man.
this
It's
business?
all you.
Okay.
No, you do at least half of it.
Ultimately, it's a yin and yang thing with
well,
our
and when we
business.
started the business, that was one of the big things. Like, we complement each other with our strengths and weaknesses. Like, Joe's really good at talking to people, and he's just a stellar designer. And then as far as the production and installation, that's really where my specialty is. So you put those things together, and you have something a lot stronger than either of us could do on our own.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So this is a weird question because it's like diving into your mind, which I know is a really scary place. But how do you come up with some of this stuff that you've designed when you do these entire vehicle wraps? Because a lot of that stuff you do is abstract. I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's
He
not
has a catalog.
Yeah, I've got a catalog of. I've got a lot of design elements that I've gotten through the years that I've just kind of kept for a rainy day.
Okay.
I'll pick things up. There's a couple of sites that I use that have some elements that, like, let's say I really like he's got the 10/10ths podcast 1983 edition T-shirt on.
Exactly.
For those
Vintage.
of you can't see.
Vintage. It's original though.
So like
Get that on 1010podcast.com.
Nice plug.
Store button.
You hit that store button.
So let's say I really like your grid, right?
Yeah.
That you've got on the bottom.
Yep.
So I'll put that away, right? So, and then it's just a lot of times a design starts for me with a line. So like I'll just start building a line. Okay, so I'll build it to a point and I'll step back and I'm like,
I can't.
I'm like,
not
oh,
creative.
I don't really like that.
When you say the liner, you're talking about just a liner, like how we find a line on a vehicle.
Yeah, sometimes I use a body line to start. If there's a really prominent body line, I'll use that.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I'll just start drawing on it, with my pen tool on the computer and see what comes of it.
The off the line Mikey Bobby's car.
Yeah.
That actually started from a Hot Wheels car.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
The white bug eye? Is that right?
the silver one.
Silver one? Okay.
Yeah.
Blab eye.
Okay.
So it started out with, I had this orange 65 Mustang Fastback. I wish that I can find that photo. I know it's there somewhere. And it had an element that I really liked. It had a piece that kind of came up and over and then had 3 pieces next to it. And I was like, oh, I'd like to use that somewhere. So I started building shapes, and then I was like, I'm going to try and replicate that. So a lot of times I'll try and replicate something, and it'll turn out completely different than what I'm trying to replicate. Mm-hmm. And so it'll be like, oh, that's nice. I kind of like that. Or it'll just be, we'll build off of, if you're coming to me and you say, I saw this S15 at a drift event, I want it to look similar to this, or I really liked X, Y, or Z on this car. I'll ask customers for feedback before I even start designing. I'll let you say, I like these 3 things. Mm-hmm. And then let that kind of dictate where I go.
So in other words, it's a lot of voodoo and witchcraft.
Yes.
Okay, great.
I'll design stuff sometimes, and I won't be super happy with it, and I'll share it with him. And in like 15 minutes, he's completely recreated it and made it 10 times more awesome than I thought it could be. And I just like shake my head because I'm like, I can't even fathom how you did that. And we went to college at DMAC together, both studying graphic design, so we have the same school, and he's good.
You think it's a practice thing? It's just because you do it every day?
Well, as quick as you can pick up a pencil and sketch like a doodle or something, like he has that with the computer. Like he can just move that mouse and move the lines in the program around,
and then it's ready to
and
print.
it's nothing for him. So
Well,
I can see is that a BRZ or an FRS there? That's the CB speed, or not CB speed? That'd be FT86.
it's the 86.
So, and that's the new car. So, I mean, that all of that design to me is abstract, but apparently that you pulled that from somewhere. There's something about that made you design that shape.
Yeah, that one was actually what we thought was going to SEMA. So we thought that was going to SEMA the first year. Mm-hmm. So then we had to implement it onto the WRX.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually the same general scheme.
Okay.
Just fit for the WRX and then the 86.
Gotcha.
So that's their kind of team design that they've got going on right now.
Yeah.
That started out as lines.
Just lines.
I mean, truly, that's where it started out. I've never thought about how I come up with stuff. So
great. So I probably completely ruined your process now because you're going to start thinking about it.
Overthinking it.
Yep, that was it.
So you know what I think would be funny
What's that?
is going through his photo album on his phone, because I know that you guys probably are walking around Walmart and you'll see something interesting and you'll snap a picture of it for later.
Oh, yeah.
I'll bet their pictures are like,
Just
what
random,
is
just
this?
completely random shit.
mine's
What
all
are you
dogs,
doing?
dogs and memes.
I
got a lot of memes.
He'd do well in our group.
Yeah, exactly. Just post those memes on the group. Problem is now if you don't do it, people will ask where the memes are.
you guys got any of them memes? Yeah, that's
I feel like that would be an interesting place to go.
honestly Hot Wheels cars. I get sucked in every single time. I showed.
The collection.
Yeah,
in your
I've got a
desk,
collection in my desk.
Oh,
Luke
that's
and I
nothing.
used to ride
We
BMX.
used to race bikes to Walmart when we were in like 4th grade to get the new shipment of Hot Wheels cars.
Thursday mornings they came in, and it would during the summer it would be almost fist fights in the Hot Wheels
Really?
aisle.
No,
yeah,
this is
I know a
not a
kid-
joke.
Yeah.
We would literally race our bikes to Walmart to buy the newest Hot Wheels.
That's
There
crazy.
was a kid in my high school who I'm fairly certain the reason he had a job at the place in town that he had a job at was because he got to rifle through the Hot
Wheels
Wheels
first.
before they hit the shelf.
HotWheels.com, screen cap. I mean, it's pulling
Ooh, I like those.
inspiration.
It is.
It truly is. And like I said, I'll pull
Well,
inspiration.
and you
from,
spend a lot of time on Pinterest. He does Pinterest boards, so he has just
Oh, it's so
all of his
adorable.
inspiration
I know,
stuff.
dude,
so
you
like
should
when you're
totally-
starting something, you
I
go
don't
and
understand Pinterest at all. So
Well, in our through Pinterest, we've actually found one of our friends.
our New Zealand counterpart.
Yeah, our New Zealand counterpart. He's a fantastic guy. His name's Richard Anderson. And he's probably, if any of you guys are listening that have seen anything really cool, like the Isuzu truck that was pulling the drift car at SEMA,
yeah,
the double-decker design, he designed that.
we have people in New Zealand that
New
listen. Actually,
Zealanders.
kind of think about
Yeah.
it.
Oh, there we go.
We have a decent number of them, I think.
Well, what's his
Shout
name?
out. It's RA Graphics
Okay.
on Facebook. He's fantastic. He's really personable, and he's just a really, really cool guy. And similar situation. He's just him. And if he needs help, he'll bounce ideas off of us. He'll shoot me a message. Probably once or twice a week. We chat, and
Crazy.
yeah,
It's cool. It's something we can do now in
Yeah.
this day and age.
it is.
Interface with somebody across the world like that.
Well, yeah, I got a FaceTime call on Facebook 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, and I was like, "What's this?" And it was him. He was like, "Hey, I just wanted to chat." I'm like, "Cool, I'm driving."
What time is it there?
Yeah,
Yeah. Isn't there like a 15-hour time difference or
yeah.
something?
No,
silly?
it's crazy. It's cool though. We're lucky enough to have a reach across through Subarus and
Yeah.
through the automotive thing. We've
It's
got
an eclectic network.
yeah.
Yeah, and it just kind of built itself.
Well, the pizza delivery guy tonight.
That was awesome.
I'm
I'm sorry I missed
What a
that whole
story.
conversation.
Holy cow.
He got struck by lightning in his vehicle, and how he wants a lightning design on his S10 that he's got. So
awesome.
him delivering pizza turned into a potential sale, but customers,
It's pretty shocking.
yeah, it's shocking.
Oh, Michael's gonna have to cut
That's
that
it.
out.
This has been a great podcast, guys. Appreciate you coming on. I won't talk to you anymore, but no, it's okay.
I feel like we kind of took over. You know, you sent out
That's what we
the
do.
list of
No,
things
man,
to
this
chat
is
about.
no. This format's way more agreeable with people. I think just having a conversation, because we've talked about it before on the show. But we're on these podcast networking groups, and they talk about all this structure and shit that you should have. I can't remember the thing that I read the other day. I talked about it on the show, what it was exactly, but I had to do a. It was talking about when you start your show, you start it, like you have your intro music or whatever, and your little lead in, and then you have it was like a.
What they call it?
It wasn't a spoiler. What was it? It was like
teaser.
A teaser.
Yeah.
So you have to do a teaser, and then you do your first topic, or no, you introduce your first topic, and then you do your topic, and then you introduce your main topic, and then you do that topic, and then you do a conclusion where you go through and wrap up your key points, and it's just like it's such a mental waste of effort in my mind, because I don't think people don't talk to like you don't go.
You don't have a structured conversation.
When you're having
Right.
when you talk to somebody and you're talking about wanting to wrap their vehicle, you have things that you want to make sure that you get answered during that time, but you don't talk to them like a robot. I mean, people have a way that they converse with each other.
Well, I kind of
Maybe Joe, you know,
I forget everything that I'm supposed to say when I'm talking to people about vehicle wraps. I'll come in and be like, "Oh shit, I forgot to tell them, you know, this thing or that thing." And
Yeah.
it just,
I can attest to that.
yeah, I mean, I straight up am squirrel central over here.
that's why I like having conversations on Facebook,
Yeah,
because then you can go back and look at it, or we can look at the conversations we're having, and
Well, that's
It's all- yeah,
That's
it's all-
one of
and
the
it gives you a little
benefits to-
reminder. Hey, you need to keep talking to this guy, because
Yeah.
we're both terrible at.
yeah.
That's like the new age paper trail, though. Is
Yeah, yeah.
really
Facebook
is.
Messenger.
It's like,
Facebook
oh, what did
pages.
I say to this guy?
Yeah.
Okay,
'Cause-
Friday he's coming.
Well,
in.
and there's been a few times where people have ordered a decal or design from me, and they get it in the mail, because I don't do a ton locally. It's usually somewhere in the U.S. And they'll get it and be like, hey, this looks great, but it's spelled wrong, or it's something looks weird. And I go back through Messenger and be like, this is how you told me to spell it. Oh, well, I guess that's my fault. It sure is.
Yep.
Shout out to any potential customers for Zion Designs. Check your proofs, please,
Yeah.
and thank you.
Actually look at them instead of saying,
Yeah.
"Yep, they look good." Thanks."
Right, right.
Because I mean, there's times that I've royally fudged, and I do apologize to anybody.
Anytown US.
Anytown USA, place that I used to work, they sent out a graphic.
They had like a corporate template for their vehicle graphics, and Joe set up the file. That Joe was the design end, and then I was the output. So Joe set up the file, passed it on to me. I didn't look at it, because by the time I get stuff, I assume everyone said, yep, looks good. So I print it out, and the installers are putting it on, and for the town, it was a template. It says, Anytown USA.
So you win some,
that's
you
not
lose
where we're
some. I guess is where we're at with that. But
Yeah.
Oh,
it's definitely. I never in a million years would have thought that we get to play with cars all day long. It's an extreme honor and a blessing that we get to do this and have the medium to share our creations with people here, people abroad. It's just exciting.
Yeah. So I want to talk about 515 racing.
It's 5:15 depending on where you're from.
Okay.
I
5:15
feel that.
racing.
I feel
We're in
that
Iowa,
breaks.
It's 515.
Yeah, it is 5:15 in Iowa.
Get outside of Iowa, it's 5:15. Right? What's this
Yeah.
5:15 racing? Yeah.
So what is 515 racing?
Yeah, because I've seen it in the periphery, just being around you guys and following some of your pages. So I've kind of seen it, but I've not fully investigated, what it is.
So it got started a year ago as more or less a snowmobile race team. I got brought into the fold this year in August. Basically, last year they did 2 snowmobile events. There's a big snowmobile race called Heydays up in Minnesota, and this guy on a factory Articat chassis won Heydays, and he in the outlaw class. So the outlaw class is like however much money you have, you throw it into the snowmobile and you just kind of let it go. This guy won Heydays 2 years ago and was the only one to win on a factory VIN number chassis. And this other guy got behind him and threw a bunch of money at it and started 515 racing. This summer, he decided he wanted to start it back up, but he runs an electrical business in Des Moines and has zero time. So I've kind of always just liked anything with a motor. It didn't matter if it's a scooter, a moped, a car, a truck, whatever. So my buddy works for him, got him in touch with me, and we started talking back and forth. And what it has formed into is more of it's actually a not-for-profit. And the main focus right now is snowmobile, but it revolves around rider safety. So I went to Tennessee this year to a big off-road event and taught like a wheeling 101 class, something for people that maybe they've never gone four-wheeling before. Some people don't know how to put their truck in four-wheel drive, so I walk them through all the basic things. And it's actually been something that I've been requested to do here.
Okay.
So once
We're still waiting.
Yeah. Phil may have been one that requested that. But right now it's all about rider safety. So I go to a lot of snowmobile events, which snowmobiling is huge year round. You guys actually talked about the Iowa
Cross or some
yes.
shit.
I'm super pumped on that because that looks so ridiculously awesome.
Did you know about that before
I had
we talked
no
about it on
idea.
the show? Jesus.
So coming into this in August, I knew what a snowmobile was. I'd fixed them for friends, never ridden one. Like, thought it was something you did in the snow.
Yeah.
Well, I've gone to 3 grass drag races now, and I mean they drag race them on grass, on concrete, on snow, on ice. It doesn't. They're riding them year round. Well, lakes. The Iowa Watercross is straight across the lake.
So explain the watercross.
So
It's exactly what it sounds like. They race snowmobiles across water.
you literally
So
start.
just go fast enough that you
And
don't
there's
sink.
groups of them.
Yes, it's like 5 or 6 racers. You
Yeah.
start
Oops.
on a boat
Yes.
dock, and you basically lay into it, and you rip across the lake, and the first one on the other side wins.
But there's like
And
10
they
or
don't
12 of them
float.
at a time.
Right.
It's just momentum carrying them across
yeah,
the lake.
yeah. But
So
they're like turning
that's
corners
insane.
and shit.
No.
Oh,
you
yeah.
have
Oh, yeah.
to, you
Oh,
have
yeah.
to
No.
stay like
Yeah.
50 or 60 miles an hour, something like that, to actually stay on plane above the water. But
It shouldn't work.
No.
But it does.
It's kind of like a plane. Every time I get on an airplane, I'm like,
There's no reason
Witchcraft.
this thing
Yeah.
should fly.
no shit.
But I never realized the amount of power that a snowmobile can put out. So this one that now we're building a new one, but this drag sled, it's a 2-cylinder Arctic Cat with a 60 millimeter turbo pushing 650 horsepower.
It's just a mild build.
Just it's
It's
light.
just normal. It's
Yes.
just it's spec build.
It's
does,
just to get from point A to point B.
it does 0 to 140 in under 4 seconds.
Oh, good Lord.
They're absolutely unreal. And I never really, the amount of them, kind of going back to talking about how many automotive businesses around Des Moines.
Yeah.
There's tons of these snowmobiles around Des Moines too. And I didn't even know something like that was a feasible speed to achieve. I made the mistake of the first race I went to. I'm standing there with my cell phone trying to take a video and didn't realize how much dirt he threw up when he launched off the line. And in the video, you hear me go, oh, because I got the wind knocked out of me. But the thing is he was already down the track and the dirt was still falling from the sky. It's unreal. But at the end of the day, what we're about is keeping the people safe that do these kind of sports. Sure, it's really cool that we've got a sled that does that amount of speed in such a short amount of time, but our main focus is like helmets and goggles and just teaching kids and young adults the right way of doing things when they go out on the trails, no matter what the sport. We were actually at the Subaru Nationals with Zion and Off the Line, and it kind of turned into the perfect storm because it was one of those things where I really wanted to go just to see it. Mm-hmm. and I didn't fully have a business purpose of being there other than I had these helmets that were the Snell approved to sell. Well, then I hear these people behind our trailer, the safety check-in.
It was the tech. The tech line
Yeah.
was directly behind.
And I hear him
Luke's
go, sorry,
trailer.
your helmet's expired. So I ran back there and I'm like, hey, we're selling helmets. And I hand the guys a bunch of koozies and stickers. I'm like, if you just want to send them my way. So it ended up working out and it gave me a good reason to be there. And we sell like hats
Sorta.
and shirts and stuff. But our main goal is to anything that's 515 or 515 that we sell, we give money back at the end of the year. So if you have a car club you're a part of, or maybe it's a drift club or whatever, you can actually vote for it at the end of the year, and we'll take a portion of our profits and donate it back to help keep events like this going. Try and put a positive spin on power sports in general.
I know multiple people who have either been killed or injured significantly that affects the rest of their life on snowmobiles.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that's awesome because that's something I don't think people take seriously enough is safety on snowmobiles.
I've been in the hospital enough from concussions, even wearing helmets, whether it be snowboarding, BMX, ATV, whatever, that I feel really good about what I do because I'm putting a positive spin. Like, when I was a kid, I didn't want to wear a helmet. That wasn't cool.
No.
Right.
It doesn't matter what you're doing. But now there's so many cool ones that are out. It's like, well, I can help support this and help you realize how cool it is to wear a helmet. And we sold a helmet to a kid, and he was 10 years old, and it kind of warmed my heart to be a little soft, I guess. I sold this kid this helmet, and he wore it around all day, and it just kept cracking me up. But the fact that he thought it was so cool that he bought this new helmet, it's like, this is the right thing to be doing.
You need to wear your helmet to work day. Apparently that's a thing.
So
there's a day every year. I don't remember what it is.
Is it seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Grassroots Motorsports pushes it
Grassroots
really hard.
Motorsports, yeah.
we sell...
The bunch of people post pictures on their Instagram and their Facebook, and just people like sitting in offices wearing helmets and like cubicle
But
farms and stuff.
it's got to the
Super
point where
funny.
they try to find people like set up shots. So it'll be like it's a guy, it's a doctor. You know what I mean? And he's in his white coat and all that crap.
Nice.
So we sell Shoei, HJC, and a company called 509, which is more motocross snowmobile. But
They've got
HJC
some cool
has Star Wars edition helmets.
Yes.
And they actually
There you are, dude.
have...
Oh man,
There you are.
I have
man.
one at the shop. It's an HJC. It's like the half bucket helmet, and it
Yeah.
looks like the Luke Skywalker X-Wing. Has a yellow lens
That's
built
sick.
in.
That is
And
awesome.
I may have made him buy that.
People will put it on at shows or whatever and just walk around just to get the reaction. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's a super cool helmet because it's all leather hand stitched and stuff.
Huh.
But
I'm sure it's
I
very
need to come
affordable
see
too.
that.
Yeah. We're pushing to do a sled wrap to complement that.
What?
We're pushing to do a sled wrap to
Yes,
complement
we're,
Star
we're
Wars
going to
themed
try and
one? That'd be
wrap an
sick.
X-Wing type sled.
That
Oh
would
yeah,
be
that'd be awesome.
I'm all about it, Robbie.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Robbie's in
We can be
Jurassic
friends
Park.
now.
Robbie's
Give me some pounds
Yeah,
on that.
Robbie's obsessed with this Jurassic Park bullshit.
Do you see the new trailers coming out
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
I'm gonna watch
There's another
Thursday
one?
Night Football. Yeah,
Yeah, dude, they go. Guess what? They go back to
Look how
the
excited
island
he is.
again, and there's fucking dinosaurs
Yeah.
on it.
Oh, my
No
God.
way.
And
Yeah,
then-
no,
are
I'm
you
And
serious.
does one
No.
get loose?
no,
Or did two get loose?
actually,
4?
there's gonna be a volcano, and they want to get the dinosaurs off the island because obviously that's
Why?
a good idea.
Let the dinosaurs die.
Because why not?
How many people have to die before we learn?
I know. Don't go back.
2 more movies. That's how many.
Bro, I remember in the
Trilogy.
second one, there's a
Trilogy.
scene. There's a scene where the main male character is like, "No, we're not going back. We're not going back over there. We're just not going. It's not safe." And they're like, "We'll give you millions of dollars or whatever it was." And he says, "Okay, fine." That was like 4 movies ago, Robbie.
No, that was the third
They
one.
knew back then it was irresponsible.
Did you see the latest one?
No,
It's they built
I
an
don't like Chris
entire
Pratt.
amusement park.
What
yeah.
is wrong with you?
I don't like Chris Pratt.
Chris
What?
Pratt is my
What?
spirit.
He's
animal.
awesome.
I'm not.
No, I'm just
just
kidding.
not a fan.
Man.
I think he's like Tobey Maguire. I think he's a shit.
Get out of here.
Oh, dude, no.
Robbie's
like,
gonna come unglued.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt's not like the greatest person, but Tobey Maguire, you're
Okay.
putting him there?
That's a little
Holy
exagger-
shit.
Okay, hold on. It's a little exaggeration calling him Tobey Maguire, but I just don't think he's a very good. You know, he might be a good comedic actor. I just don't think he's a good actor in general.
Well, then watch more of his movies.
No, I don't think that's going to fix the problem.
It
Robbie.
will. Watch the
I
good
don't-
ones.
I don't
Chris
think it will.
Pratt as Emmett. changed my life from the Lego Movie. Just
Oh,
nailed
he
it.
was in that too, wasn't
Yep.
he?
Yeah.
That was not a good movie.
What is wrong
It
with
was
you?
not a good movie.
Do you not
I had
have
really,
kids?
I had really, I do. I had really high hopes for the Lego movie, and it let me down.
Sorry.
It was. I mean, what do you want from it? It's a.
No, I built it up too high, and then when
Yeah.
I saw it, it was.
What'd you
Rob,
think?
Did you really build this
up?
too high?
guess.
Well, everyone talked about it was the
Build
greatest,
it up too high?
like these walls.
How many times do I have to end this podcast? Damn it! No more puns.
No.
But yeah, everyone kept telling me how great that movie was. When I finally saw, it, I was like, it's all right.
Did you see Lego Batman?
No,
No,
because
I
I didn't
haven't
like the
seen that
first one.
Dude, it's hilarious.
Is it
that
way
one's
better?
way better.
Okay,
I'll
I
check
gotta
it
watch
out.
it then.
Please check it out for
try
my
it.
sake.
But back to Jurassic World.
Yeah.
I was really
He's not gonna
bummed
let
that
it
there
go.
wasn't a cooler wrapped vehicle in Jurassic World.
Oh, I know.
Because you know how you can mimic like the first movie? There's an actual explorer that
He's out of
drives around
Mason
town.
City.
No, there's one in Ankeny,
Yeah,
too.
there's
one in Ankeny, too?
Yeah.
Driving in Altoona.
Yeah.
With
Robbie, for the love of God,
I need a
grab your
Wrangler.
240 as a Jurassic Park vehicle.
I will
I know some
stop.
guys.
I will stop my blue chrome wrap if you're
He's doing.
serious.
You know, he's doing one.
He's
You
trying to
doing
do
a blue
it.
chrome
He's trying to
wrap?
do
I
it
knew-
himself.
it's
yeah,
not really-
I
it's
thought
not-
I'd teach
no,
myself
it's-
how to do wrapping this
It's
winter.
not. No. Wait.
So I decided blue
It's-
chrome.
It's
Well,
not the chrome that you're thinking of.
No.
It's kind of
no,
like
it's
a
actually-
matte
It's
chrome.
satin chrome blue.
Yeah.
What material?
Cheap shit.
Oh, that makes your life
We're like
worse.
triple stacked against
Have you? How
yourself.
far have
I
you
know.
gotten into it?
I got the trunk done, but I touched it with a heat gun, so I'm probably gonna pull it off and do it again.
You know, you could really contact some guys to work on a
There's-
really cool Jurassic
Like
Park.
three of them sitting right in front of me.
I'm
The problem
not
is
a
that
240.
Robbie does everything literally by himself. Not like
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We really do appreciate
Yeah.
the DIY guys.
Yeah, I
totally
Teach
encourage
themselves
it.
to rap and
I was like, well, I want to teach myself how to do. That's like when we get done here. I want to go look at like how you guys do your seams and
But
stuff.
if
'cause
you would have talked to me beforehand, I would say don't buy cheap vinyl.
don't buy cheap vinyl and don't buy chrome as your
Don't
first
buy
try.
chrome.
Yep,
It's expensive. But more power to you.
I got to learn something.
I would be all about a Jurassic Park themed
240.
240. That'd be pretty
That'd
sick.
be rad.
hashtag send me the information.
Okay, so before we move on, did you guys know I learned there's this thing called Project Bluebeam? Speaking of conspiracy theories,
There we go.
it has Star Wars
No.
and Jurassic Park
No.
elements in it. You guys need to
No.
look into this.
Okay.
It's fucking crazy.
Well, give me like a 2-second Reader's Digest so I
Yeah,
can
well,
forget about
I'll give
it.
you the Wikipedia page. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Exactly.
That's probably safer. Does it have a Reddit page?
I'm sure it
Everything
does.
has a
Actually,
Reddit
it was
page.
called like Conspirowiki or something like that. Which I mean, how do you get a reliable conspiracy theory source? Like what is that?
We really do need to start a conspiracy theory podcast. The problem is that we need to find someone who buys into all this. We need an Eddie Bravo so that we
do
can
you know
tear
anybody
him
who's
apart.
crazy that we could?
That
Is
actually
that
believes
Johnny's
this shit.
brother?
No.
Take it you're not a Joe
Well-
Rogan Experience fan.
I'm not.
I'm a huge fan.
Are you?
Phil
And I
is.
get
Eddie
conspiracy
Bravo.
theories, but I'm picky about it
Like
because
you
I don't
actually
want people to think I'm crazy.
No, I
Okay.
need a guy
No,
who
not like
believes
flat
in
Earth,
flat Earth
not-
and
not
stuff like that to be
So-
on the show.
Honestly, I feel like Phil would be a great addition to your podcast. Like
Talk
once every 3 months.
Phil's conspiracy theory corner.
Phil's conspiracy corner.
But Phil tries to back everything with as many facts as he can find.
We don't have time for
I'm
that.
a rational person.
Okay, so
We
do
don't
you
have
think
time
Eddie
for
Bravo's crazy then?
I don't know who that is.
Oh really? Oh okay. You haven't listened to those Joe Rogans then.
We're gonna send you some links.
All right.
It's gonna you need a solid 3.5 hours of your life that you're never
that's
gonna
nothing.
get back.
No, that's what I do every night.
But it's absolutely
I
worth
stay
it.
up till 3-4 in the morning just going down.
How do you feel about Alex
I wake up
Jones?
the next morning.
Alex Jones, is he your homie?
Can I say it?
Wow. I actually back around 2010, 2011, it's probably closer to 2011. I actually listened to Alex Jones.
Okay.
I found it fascinating, but that was right about when he was starting to go off the rails. And
Is
the
that
man's
when the
completely
frog-
outside of his mind.
Is that when the frogs turned gay?
See, the thing is, like he had was it episode 1000 or which one?
No, episode 911.
Oh, the episode 911.
Whoa.
So Joe Rogan.
The Joe Rogan podcast, episode 911, he had Alex Jones on there.
No, he didn't.
And Eddie Bravo, who's a conspiracy nut. And they talked about conspiracies for 3.5 hours straight. They're talking about like zombie vampire pedophiles and just
Yeah.
like crazy.
No, but
So
the
far out.
thing is, it's like
so far out.
they're kind of holding onto this thin strip of reality for about 2.5 hours, and then
It just falls.
Alex Jones gets just completely wasted. And he starts.
Yeah, they're drunk.
He's talking about like interstellar space travel and going between dimensions and all this. And you just like, Joe Rogan's just sitting there listening to him like, oh my god.
It just
Who was
sounds like a cocaine.
Who was the
fueled-
rock star? Was it from Blink?
No, it wasn't from. Yeah, it was because he got fired. The guy that got fired from Blink 182.
Shit. Tom DeLonge.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was on there just recently. That guy's a nut job.
Really?
Oh my god.
Yeah, he keeps saying he'd be like, so this guy from the CIA, high ranking official within the CIA, and then Joe would be like, who was it? He's like, well, I can't tell you that.
Well,
had
and
this-
then Joe would be like, so how do you know that? Well, I can't tell you that. Well, but how am I supposed to believe you? If you knew what I knew, you'd believe too.
But I can't tell you.
But I can't tell you.
And I can't tell your listeners, but I could tell you some stuff after, but I can't tell you everything. So it's like, it was 3 hours of completely wasted.
Like I said, you'll
Wasted
never get that
conversation.
time back, but it's
No,
absolutely
right.
worth it.
So anyway, sorry I took us down that rabbit hole.
You're
but
not sorry at all.
I'm not sorry at all. Dude, the posts on the group this week have been all conspiracy
It
theories.
has been a lot of flat
It's
Earth.
been all flat Earth the entire time.
I don't know.
Give the people what they
I
want.
posted that drift video.
He asked a perfectly legitimate question about Ken Block and drifting.
Yeah, it is.
The only person
did
that
anybody
bit-
even respond to it?
The only person that bit on my Ken Block drifting scenario.
And that honestly was me trying to understand if that drifting or is
Problem
there
is that
something
I don't
else?
really
I've read a
understand
lot
it
of
myself.
argument. Some people say it's
He's not.
power sliding.
He's not a drifter.
Which I'm not
he's a
saying
rally
he's a
driver.
drifter, but I was saying
It is
the action
It's
he's
probably
doing is drifting.
It's probably drifting, but he is not a drifter. That's my thing.
Amazing control over a vehicle, though.
Like
Oh,
Trevor
yeah.
said, I play football with my friends at a tailgate. Doesn't make me a football player.
I think that's
Wow.
Yep.
That was profound. Like, legitimately.
I can relate to that.
Yeah,
Sports ball things.
Yeah, sports ball things.
You guys want to do some
We
news?
should probably just
Let's do some news.
This has got to be a long show.
Presented
Oh, yeah.
by Petrolbox. Hey, everybody, it's Michael. I'm doing something different this week. It's like my own version of the Joe Rogan experience. So we were at Zion. We had a good rhythm going, and I decided that we were not going to throw in our normal read ad like we normally do for Petrolbox. So I was like, you know what I can do? I can pretend like I'm Joe Rogan. I can record it by myself. So here I am. So for Petrolbox this week, guys, the guys at Petrolbox were nice enough to extend their Christmas offer. So if you want to give Petrolbox as a gift, they're going to let you sign up for it until the 12th. So the 12th of December is on a Tuesday. This show comes out on Sunday. So if you're hearing this on Sunday or Monday or Tuesday, run over to mypetrolbox.com. You've got options to give as a gift. And of course, use that code 10tenths with the S on the end at checkout, and it'll get you $7 off your first box. All the other stuff we talked about from Petrolbox, it's all still the same. You get a bunch of rad stuff. You get $80 worth of stuff in a box every single month for $39.95. I think the normal price is, with that $7 off your first month. And you still get signed up for the free Rotiform wheels, which is pretty sick. So if you get that golden ticket, make sure to contact the guys and let them know, because you've won yourself a free set of wheels. That's it. Let's get back to the show.
All right, we'll start this off with the convicted drunk drivers say smartphone breathalyzers helped with impaired driving. Prevent impaired driving.
I really just wanted to talk about this to bring back Rob's responsibilities. Is really what this.
I
comes
figured
up for.
as soon as I read it, I was like, there's only one way we're going to go about this, and it's going to be like, see, idiot Robbie was right like 10 years ago.
Robbie's got a breathalyzer, like a keychain.
Well, not anymore.
breathalyzer that he used to keep when we were in college. He kept it in his center console, and we'd have a night of drinking. He'd blow on it and see, like
Have a good laugh before
he
you take
knows.
off.
He knows,
No.
he knows it's not accurate, but it gives you a baseline, right? Like,
Right.
It's just basically, it's a reminder to be like, hey, don't be dumb. If you think you have to blow into this just to see if should be driving,
right.
it's a
Probably
good reminder
shouldn't be
probably
driving.
not to get behind the wheel.
I can get behind that.
I never got no WI. There were times I did drive too drunk, and that's kind of what led to it. I was like, I'd go home and I'd be like, fuck, I
Feel guilty now?
shouldn't have drove home last night.
Wake up and not remember driving. home.
Exactly. Stuff like that. I'm
We've
like,
been there.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I should get one of these. And I put it in the car, and I used it a couple of times. And yeah, of course, it's not accurate at all.
Right.
But it was enough. Like, if it registered at all, it's like, I'm going to wait. Or I'm going to call a taxi. Or I'm going to call a friend.
So
Eat
can
a
you give me a
cheeseburger.
basis
Something
of
like
this? Because I live under a rock. I've got 3 children, and I don't do news.
So basically, this was a program. Was it in Colorado?
It was in Colorado.
Where they were so if you were a convicted drunk driver, they would give you it was an attachment to your smartphone, basically.
Okay.
So they'd give you this attachment, say download this app, and then it wasn't even attached to their vehicle, really.
No, you just blow into it and tell you what you were at.
Oh, okay. And then shocker, 90% of those people were like, oh yeah, I
Well, if you
yeah.
blew over a .08 or
Right.
whatever, it would call an Uber for you.
Oh, well, that's
really?
freaking amazing.
It's not cheap. It's like $130 or $150. But
Why
yeah,
is that not something that is given to every college
It's
student?
cheaper than the funeral.
Like,
it's your
seriously.
$13,000 DUI.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a drop in the bucket when you
Yeah.
start looking at what those cost.
Yeah, back when I was drinking, they were giving me a hard time for it. I'm like, this is probably the smartest $30 I ever spent.
Yeah.
I did have a friend that got convicted. I mean, and he was way over, and it was a mess. He had to sell some assets and stuff like that.
It
It's a
stays
bad
with
deal.
you for a long time,
Yeah,
too.
it's a bad deal. So, but
That's
yeah,
crazy.
no, I can get behind that.
Yeah, I can definitely.
The
get on
crazy
that.
thing was they did a survey, and they said 15% of people didn't know what the limit was legally.
What?
Yeah.
I
You don't remember this?
I am not the
jingle
right
from
person
the
to ask.
commercial.
.06,
Not the slightest clue.
right? Is it, is it
well,
8 now?
apparently we don't
It's
know in the
0.08.
room.
No, because the commercial was the new legal limit is .08. Nobody.
Jingles.
They stick
Should have
with
been
you.
a jingle writer.
Oh, wow. I can give you Midwest Basement Systems phone number.
Can you? Yeah, there you go.
Do it.
it's 289-1606.
Yeah,
That's right.
it is.
That's absolutely
You're
right.
welcome.
Is this a radio thing?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
They now
My
owe
favorite
you
one
for
is,
advertising.
Yeah.
Bam. Basements and Masons. That was my favorite.
The thing is, the guy that writes that stuff writes like 90% garbage, and then he hits that one that sticks with people. And
Like that place on Franklin. I think it's called Stogdale's.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just like really bad Des Moines area jingles.
there's
I've
got
got
to
them
be
stuck.
There's got to be one guy that writes all those and laughs his ass off to the bank all day long because
Yeah.
there's a
Oh, yeah.
bunch of, but it's got to be
But
like
it's
that. everywhere.
garbage. Like you said, 90% of it is straight garbage.
But then you're like humming it when you're
It
while you're walking.
sticks in your head.
Damn it!
Yeah.
Like that place that I'm not going to say it because Phil and I it'll be stuck in our heads for like
It
years.
probably already
I
is.
hope I know this. I'll
Somebody-
sing it.
What is the business?
You've got friends who care at birth, right? Like seriously, it'll be stuck in our head till at least New Year's.
You just
Sorry,
like,
guys.
one of you randomly sing half of it, and the other one.
It'll be just a hum because we sit face to face at our desks, right? So, like 80s music is really bad. Walk like an Egyptian is one that gets stuck in our head frequently, or in my head.
That's
and then
at
I
least
have
a
to get
song, not a jingle, though.
But
You
that
want-
jingle is horrible, man. Like it is just like, oh, get out of there.
that walk like an Egyptian. This is going to be weird. People are probably going to get pissed about this, but that Aerosmith song, "Dude Looks Like a Lady." You don't know that song?
No, I know.
No,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
I'm just not sure where
Okay,
you're
you guys
going.
look at me like, what?
I'm waiting.
Where are you
I'm
going?
trying
Trying
to
to figure out
connect.
where you're going with it.
You guys gave me this really.
Who's that now?
Hate that song. So I hate 90% of what Aerosmith does. I mean, it just.
What about
it's
old Aerosmith?
I think there's some stuff of Aerosmith that's really really good, but there's
Right.
stuff like that just it ruins the whole catalog for me. I hate it so much. That I hear that song on the radio, I want to drive the car into a signpost. I really do.
You shouldn't do that.
No, I shouldn't do that.
Somebody's got to clean your
Off the
blood
steering
and
wheel.
guts off the street.
Yeah, it's not a good.
No.
look.
Creates jobs, though.
No, it does. Good. You know what?
It's a
Good
job
for the
creator.
economy.
You are.
I like how you look at things positively. You know, what I mean? You get a positive spin on a negative situation. That gets you really far in life.
Does it?
So
Supposedly.
I want to. The jingle guy. This reminded me of something I saw this week that instantly brought Michael to my mind. Did you know when you're driving down the interstate here in Des Moines, they'll have those changing boards, and they'll have a like a stupid saying, and then they'll say how many people have been killed in a traffic accident this year.
311.
Did you see what it was like yesterday?
It was a really bad pun, wasn't it?
It said, "Deck the halls, not the tailgater behind you."
Yeah.
And I was like, "That's Michael all the way."
Are you the
'Cause he's-
tailgater, or are you the guy that wants to punch somebody in the
Oh,
face?
Road raging like crazy.
Michael's
Really?
the road rage.
You know what? Ever since I got rid of the car, it's gotten better.
the Veloster.
Yeah, with the turbo. You know, it's not a fast car, but it was enough to drive like an asshat
But
sometimes.
he's got an LS2 powered Blazer.
Yeah, but
That's-
it's that
Look at
doesn't
me.
that doesn't want to rev like the Veloster does. You know what I mean? And it's only got 4
It's
gears.
I think the big thing is it's an automatic.
Probably. Yeah. If I could rip into people in third gear in that in a manual, I probably
if you
would.
could drop a gear and
just blow people up,
Yeah.
I probably would. So anyway, DUIs.
I got nothing.
This is exactly how the news goes every single week. So
guys,
don't-
I'm sorry
don't-
for that.
don't-
Jingles, be damned.
Jingles. Should we do the next one, Rami?
Yeah, 6 new Trackhawk Jeeps were stolen from the factory.
Good.
Vin Diesel and crew.
Is that what? Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Isn't Fast and the Furious? Aren't they shooting Fast and the Furious 10? Maybe they're doing real heists now. Maybe
Yeah, I
that's the
think
next
that's
level.
well. I mean,
I'd
they've
watch
got-
that.
it's a
I might
lost.
actually.
It's one of those found film,
Yeah, I think that's probably
like the Blair Witch Project. That's
Oh,
the,
so
that's the
they've
next
gone to
best.
that level now.
Yeah.
guerrilla
Okay.
style shooting, if
Yeah.
you will.
I mean,
Yeah,
they've
like
done
that.
everything else at this point.
Just
you
a
might
bunch
as well.
of people with GoPros mounted to their chest, just running around.
stealing $90,000 SUVs. Oh, you're the right person to ask about this, Luke. How do you feel about a 700 horsepower track in heavy quotes Jeep?
$90,000.
So that's
90.
what gets me. I listened to that podcast, and Jeep and $90,000 don't belong together. Period.
No.
And I'm not. I like to consider myself a pretty neutral person when it comes to brand loyalty. I mean, I have a Chevy, 2 Fords, and a Nissan at my house. I don't know how you can get a whole lot more neutral than that.
And a Bayliner.
But
Oh, that's
I
too
think.
bad.
Well, no, I don't have a Bayliner. It's a Glastron. It's not at my house right now. I was like, what is he talking about? It's kind of neat, but that's about it.
It's a cool idea.
What?
If you
It's
were
one of
at
those
that,
things that's never going to get used.
if you were at that income level, would you even
oh
consider?
no, absolutely not.
What is that? Is that like the equivalent
It's
of
got
like
the Hellcat motor and a Jeep.
right?
Oh,
But is it like, hey, I've got this family, and my wife won't let me have a race car, but she'll let me have an SUV?
I guess.
And
Well,
she'll let me spend $90,000 on one.
But what class do you run at like an SCCA event or an NSA?
well, you're going to
event?
be
Like,
so heavy.
NASA and SCCA would probably tell you no.
right.
Especially
it's gotta have a
SCCA
rollover
because
rating.
they have this rollover, like this equation, like at local autocross level. They'll have this. I don't know enough
Don't
about
they
it.
just outright say you can't track an SUV?
Usually.
Well, like
Well,
so
I know,
I have
like,
an S10.
rallycross,
I
you
have an
can't.
S10 Extreme. So and that's the factory like lowered one. So it's 2 inches lower than a base model S10 all the way around, and that's a bone stock truck that way. That is SCCA legal because it is close enough to the ground that its center of gravity and its roll center is not what they consider to be dangerous.
Okay.
But a stock height like my S10 Blazer, if I showed up with that, even though they're the same chassis, that's not okay. But if I lowered that, it would then be okay.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't
think
know
they're
that the
lowered.
yeah,
but
I'm
they're
sure
not
they are,
much.
but there's still a lot of
What was the
Yeah.
thing about the Fiat Abarth? They wouldn't let it compete.
a base model 500.
oh, okay. A base
A
500.
base model 500 with its spring rate and its relatively high center of gravity at stock ride height is not allowed to be or to compete in the SCCA autocross.
Is it the same for the regular Fiesta, too?
I think it was the base model Fiesta and but like, you know, obviously the STs and the Abarths, those are perfectly okay because they're lower, they have a stiffer spring rate, a wider tire, they're fine.
So it's I don't know. It's a toss-up whether or not someone would let you compete with it. We probably won't know until somebody tries it.
So then the next question is, let's say we're not going to a road course track. Are we going to the drag strip? I mean,
Yes, that's where they're all going to. Because, I mean, there's tons of like twin turbo SRT8s, the last gen of this, essentially what this is, you know?
Right.
There's lots of guys that like twin turboed them, put cages in them, stripped them out, and took them to the drag strip.
There's lots of guys with twin-turbo
TBSS.
too that drag race them and run nines and crap that spent hundreds of, maybe not
Right.
hundreds of thousands of dollars, but definitely tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, you put that
Right.
you put that same amount of money into a Camaro, and you'd be
You'd be
know,
way ahead.
You'd be 2 seconds faster in the quarter. I mean,
So
but I'm all about being weird, but that might be.
I don't. But
That's too far.
that's.
are we going publicity on this then? Do you think?
I think so.
Back to conspiracy corner. Like,
Yeah, because we've talked about it 3 times now, and Jeep's not paid us any money.
that's
Any
It'll look
How-
it'll look great at Cars and Coffee.
Yeah, there you go. How well did that Ram pickup with the V10 Viper motor? Did that sell?
No. so terribly.
I mean, it seems like they're kind
I've
of
seen
doing
a
that
few of them,
again.
and they're sweet.
They
but
are cool.
Is
We
that-
had them at DMAC.
Do you think that's just a thing where it's like, hey,
We've
we
got
have this thing and people like this other thing. Let's put these two things together. And
As long as it's simple.
it is the goobers of
the automotive world.
the automotive world.
I just feel like you'd go to the bank and be like, I'm trying to buy this Jeep for $90,000. And the loan officer would look at you and go, what? Like, that doesn't compute.
Does it come with cage mounting points like the Demon does?
I don't
No,
think-
I
I bet
think
it
this
has
is
a
like-
harness for
I think this is supposed to
child
be.
seats.
This is that whole Grand Cherokee line has turned into like a budget, which I say in quotes now because one's $90,000, but it's become a budget Range Rover.
Ah.
yeah.
Yeah, but at what point does Range Rover just say, that's garbage? Like, or, what? I guess to all our SUV friends out there, I am a big fan of them, but I don't see spending $90,000 on a brand new SUV with really no place other than the drag strip to be something
We're
that's
with you
like,
on that one.
Like, what the hell?
I wonder what it would be like to daily something like that.
Now, that being said, we had an SRT Jeep come in and we color changed it. That thing was fun. I
Yeah.
mean, it would be
470 horsepower.
I think
or whatever.
that's
but that's
perfectly
reasonable.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like there's
yeah.
a certain level of
reasonable.
over
There's stupid, and then
ungodly.
there's there's
Silly.
maybe not stupid,
It's
but
silly.
there's a little silly. Like, okay, this is kind of comical and fun, and this is I've got a Trailblazer SS. I mean, it's
Right,
it's
it's
stupid.
silly.
It's stupid. I'll admit to being dumb. And then there's
yeah, but
but
it's,
why?
Yeah,
But I think the problem is that they will sell all of them.
except 6.
Except these 6, yes.
Yes.
These are no, they got one back, I think.
Yeah, they got 5 gone now. Still.
Okay, so they'll sell all of them except for those 5. But the collective value of what was stolen was $560. I can't even say it. It's such a big number. $516,000
Wow,
of SUVs stolen.
that's insane. That shouldn't even be a thing, though.
Lambo makes one now, so this is the world we live in.
Make
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, but you got to get that coffee quick.
That
been to a-
espresso, that little tiny
Yeah.
espresso.
You ever been to a line at Starbucks in Ankeny?
No, I've never been to a
For-
Starbucks, period.
There are certain times you need to avoid Starbucks.
Like
All the time.
All the time.
every time.
No, I disagree, sir. Actually, you know what? To be completely honest with you, their coffee's not that good. But there's
Give me
not.
a Caribou.
What's that?
Caribou.
This guy gets
Where's
it.
there's
Caribou.
Well,
There's one in
nothing.
Ankeny.
There's
Yeah.
Caribou's everywhere.
Caribou's
No,
everywhere.
They're across the
Not one
street
over
from
here.
every
There's
Starbucks.
not one over here.
Yeah, north side
There's one
Ankeny.
in, actually,
Or south
There's
side
one on
2 over
University.
by the mall.
Yeah.
They have them in high V
Which
too.
mall?
There's one right by your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's
one
I
on
don't live over
University.
here, Robbie. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, there's one in Ankeny, though, on the
Yeah.
south side of Ankeny.
Yeah.
Fairly easy. Hashtag, you don't know where I'm talking about.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
We do that all the time. It's no big deal.
It's all good. Yeah, but I would much prefer a Caribou. What's your coffee of choice, then?
Smoky Row. No one knows what that is.
I know
Do you
what
wear
that is,
your
but-
hipster jacket in there?
Yeah, I
or
wear tweeds
He'll- and
sometimes.
do you have skinny jeans that you wear in there?
Some of my skins
So-
are tighter than other ones. Yeah.
This is a great story that I love to tell as often as I can. Last year, we went to the Des Moines Concourse. And you know when you think of like old people that go to Concourse, like Pebble Beach and stuff, they wear those ridiculous outfits.
Did he?
So we decided we were going to do that, right? All 3 of us. We were going to do that. We were going to show up. It's going to be great. Robbie went like full on shopping. I did the
Goodwill.
Well, that's the only
Obviously.
place.
It was value shopping, obviously. I did the best I could with what I had. One of my friends had bought me like this ridiculous coat as a joke from a Goodwill.
Yeah.
Right. It was pretty low key, but I didn't really have a whole lot of time to it. Michael just hit his closet and he was ready to go. He had his red chinos. That was the day I learned what a chino is.
They weren't exactly red. I mean, they were kind of like a brick color. But yeah.
So it was like a Cheeto chino.
Yeah, exactly.
Like some
Okay.
weird shoes, and he was.
They weren't weird shoes. They were tasseled loafers. How dare you?
Something
sir?
similar to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
that look
That's
like?
Michael's
This is
every day.
high school. That's me in high school. My friend's getting married, and he went through his like a photo album.
You
guys,
could wear that blue jacket if you tried really hard. You could pull that off. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I was like 60 pounds lighter then, and dumb. So anyway, but so you
He's a hipster at heart. He just hasn't realized it. yet.
Hipsters, a little strong.
And accurate.
He doesn't have a fixed gear or a Volvo station
No, I
wagon.
don't have any of those
Yet.
things.
Yet.
Give it time.
Fixed gear is on the Christmas list.
I'd-
Volvo
You can-
Volvo
I'd
station
I'd
You
put
wagon.
can
an LS
LS.
in
I was
a-
gonna say
I'd
you can
LS
LS swap
I'd
a
LS swap
Volvo
a
station
240.
wagon, no problem.
Volvo station wagon for sure.
You're one of those.
Yeah, why not?
Dude, this half of this,
Bro, you even
podcast
know what
is
this
one of
podcast
those.
is fueled
I
by?
know.
It's fueled by V8s and hate.
Get behind that.
I refuse to V8 swap anything just to like keep a level of.
You got to balance it out.
This
Yeah.
whole podcast was started on like the differential between, you know what I mean? We're different. I got a Fiat. Robbie's got this stupid SR20
This
thing.
Ricer thing.
Yeah, whatever that is, wheels and whatever. And then he's got the Omni, you know, front wheel drive. It's different. It's gone very white bread V8s in the last 2 years.
But I refuse to
He's the
conform.
holdout.
Good for you.
Despite the fact that I own two S10s and they like almost literally bolt in there, and I have one that's got a blown motor in my driveway.
Don't do it.
I won't
I'm
do
pretty
it.
sure the V8 bracket kits for those are $100.
Yeah, they're stupid cheap.
They're crazy.
We're gonna start a GoFundMe page.
I mean, he could probably
evening.
sell his Blazer and V8 swap the
I'm not
S10 the
doing
weekend.
it. I'm not doing it. I refuse. Someone's got to be the voice of reason here, or
So
not reason.
Is yours
depending on how you look at
your
it.
extreme white?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm driving north on 35 in 2005, and there is a white extreme behind me, and I look up and I see it. I don't think anything of it, and I look forward, and there is a freaking air conditioner unit that had fallen off of a truck in the middle lane. So I had to swerve to miss it. The extreme nailed
Oh
it.
no!
Nailed it.
Blow the front.
Oh
of it up.
yeah,
Pour one
I
out
saw
for
the
the
hood
homie.
just go. Poof. Sorry, everyone.
No,
Hurts,
it's okay.
It hurts
Okay.
me deep. I have a turbocharged 4-cylinder. They did not come turboed.
Well,
I got a turbo kit. I rebuilt the motor, and then I ran out of oil and blew it up. It's not a big deal. It happens to everybody.
it does. Oil
turboed
systems
the
in,
2.2?
important.
Yeah. I bought it with a blown motor and the turbo kit, rebuilt the motor, and then blew it up again.
What was
Why would you-
Jason's GMC in high school?
Jason Green?
Yeah.
The Typhoon.
He had Typhoon.
He still has.
Don't even get me started on the Cyclone.
This
Don't get him
was
started.
2003
Yeah.
ish. It came. I used to work at Carl Chevrolet, and it came in, and I had a little Nissan pickup, and I called my parents. I'm like, "We got to sell this truck. I got to buy this."
What do I got to
Typhoon."
do? Like,
But then my friend Jason really needed a car, and like he saw it, went into the finance office, and it was his. And I'm like, he needed it, but he still has it. It's a black one.
It's
got the
gorgeous.
90s style 3-spoke wheels that he won't. They're so ugly, but they like
no,
fit
don't
the
touch
era.
it. You leave it alone.
Well, the only thing is he has the original wheels for it too, which
Oh,
they
they're
look
not-
somewhat.
okay.
These are aftermarket 3-spoke.
Is it kind of like those Boyd Coddington? Like, you know how he was big on making those weird over the top wheels in the early 90s?
These look like a Mercedes emblem.
Oh,
Like it's just
Oh,
a
they're those
3-spoke
ones.
chrome. They're ugly.
That's like an American racing wheel or something.
Yes.
that
Yes,
discontinued.
it probably
yes.
is.
Yeah.
But that car would do a wheelie. I mean, if he'd sit there on the brake and build boost, I'm talking like an inch off the ground, but it'd pull the front wheels, and he actually broke both the seat brackets from launching it so hard. We took a
I need one in my
duck
life.
call and put it on the blow-off valve, and that was a lot of
Yeah,
fun too. Way louder than you'd ever think it would be, though. I mean, when it scared the crap out of you the first time that thing let go.
speaking of off the rails, back to the news.
Speaking of cars that should be V8 swapped, John Cena is being sued by Ford for selling his new GT. What?
But it's
Hashtag
there's
ego
ego
boost.
The meme that's out there.
This is why we're
Ford
probably
just put a
runs the news.
V6 in it because they knew everyone was going to put an LS in it anyway, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's be real. They're just saving us the time.
We actually just talked about this on an install that we did today.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Working on a 70 Boss 302 for a guy. Had a stripe kit that we installed. We were talking about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I can see, why they're suing him because they only made the limited run of it." And he said, but to his defense, he said he was liquidating a bunch of assets, and that was one of the things, along with a bunch of other stuff. So
I think there was some sort of clause in there that
He signed
could-
You have to keep it
he
for
signed
2
a
years.
contract.
2 years.
Yeah.
I thought there was something in there that if you were maybe you had to be in bankruptcy or something like that, but there was a way out if you needed, liquidity. I thought maybe that's not true, but
So he didn't follow said protocol.
well, he said that Ford said that he contacted them to tell them that he was going to sell it, and he said he wanted to make it right, whatever that meant, and then he kind of disappeared. As far as he just didn't communicate with them anymore about the sale. So I don't know. I mean, there's a contract. They can sue him, and it's up to a judge or a jury or whatever to decide if, what exactly the damages are.
If he's liquidating assets, though, why would you sue him? He probably doesn't have
Probably
any
doesn't
money.
have any money.
Right. Well, what'd you say? They're suing him for $500,000. Is that what?
They were suing him for 75. Okay, so this is the best. Of course, some attorneys have gotten a hold of this. It say they're suing him for damages to brand value, ambassador activity, and customer goodwill, which is worth $75,000. Plus, he has to. I think in the contract he has to pay them any profit. So if he bought it, whatever, $350 or something like that. So if he sold it for $450, he has to pay them the $100 plus the $75 plus what other bullshit they can come up with, probably attorney's fees and whatever else. So
I'm really torn on this because part of me kind of likes that Ford did this because I hate when speculators buy cars purely on the thought that in 6 months it's going to be worth another $100,000, like people were doing with the 911R.
yeah,
We've talked about it a handful of times. But on the other side, I don't like that a corporation could come in and tell me that I'm not allowed to sell my personal property.
Well, it goes back to your dead mouse car.
Oh yeah.
Yep, Ferrari.
Yeah, the Ferrari.
Ferrari said no.
Cease and desist on that.
Shut that down. The
was
Nyan
it?
Cat Ferrari.
Yep.
why did they do that?
He wrapped it, and Ferrari said no.
Damage to brand.
Yep.
Well, and it was actually he changed the emblem on the car to like the cat.
That's right.
And it was actually changing the emblem that
That set him off.
caused them to lash
That's weird
out,
though, because
yeah.
do you maybe you sign some paperwork when you buy a Ferrari? I don't know. It's possible that you do.
Right.
Yes, if
well,
you bought it new.
But
who knows?
Liberty Walk can get away with the atrocities they're doing to those.
Oh, come on now.
Quit throwing
Hey,
out the
I
word
said it.
atrocities.
I said it. I said
Somebody
it.
found a thesaurus on the way to school
Thesaurus.
today.
You got your word of the day calendar going?
I'm going to use this one as I just fumble over thesaurus. So, sorry about
It
that.
happens to the best of us.
I wasn't on his word
If
calendar.
you podcast
clearly.
for long enough, you'll make a complete ass out of yourself.
Well, I think I've done that tonight.
twice a night.
Yeah,
I
twice.
was going to say I did it at episode 1 through 96.
Oh,
so.
nice. Nailed it.
Yeah, it works.
I'm
Yeah.
up
He's
100%,
consistent at least.
yeah.
Yeah, your batting average is excellent.
Back to the Liberty Walk thing.
I'm not into it
What? Why?
because they ruin those cars.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
They stance
What about
them out.
Well, what
okay.
about the ones that aren't stance
No.
though?
If they're not, I've never seen a Liberty Walk that's not stanced.
None
but
of
if
them
they
are
weren't
stanced. There's-
stanced,
What about-
there's wide body.
Absolutely, they're stanced.
What about RTR doing the wide bodies on the Mustangs?
That doesn't bother me because those are legitimate, like tracked cars.
Okay. Well, some people legitimately go to Starbucks and their Liberty Walk.
That's
How do you
Ferraris.
cannot drive that wide of a car through a Starbucks drive-thru?
No.
I'll tell you that from experience right now. If you are all about that Starbucks life, do not
Buick?
get a Liberty Walk.
You were in a Buick, weren't you?
No, I match with my SUV out there. Nobody throws me any looks. They don't know any different. Bunch
shoot.
of Suburbans and Trailblazers. Yeah,
No.
soccer moms.
it just looks a little different. It's
Yeah,
whatever.
It's not a big deal.
I just don't. I don't like the bolt-on. Well, I mean, I don't mind the bolt-on over fender thing, but like RWB, they build those cars and then they take them out and track them. Hell, they have like a race that they do with all of their car
Right.
owners, and I think that's awesome.
There's function
But-
behind what they're doing.
yeah,
But
I've never seen a Liberty Walk on the track.
there's a segment of that population that stances those cars.
I know, and it makes me really sad.
So it's apples to apples there.
No, but I don't like it. I'm allowed to not like it.
It's okay. All right.
Speed
It's not for
Hunters,
everybody.
Speed Hunters, I think, did a Liberty Walk full stance cambered. I don't even know what it was. It was like a 355 or 360 maybe or something like that, and everybody was super pissed about that. I wonder if that guy got called by Ferrari about that. But what do you do besides harass him?
Yeah.
I think if you bought it secondhand, what are you going to do about it? You know,
Can't do anything at that
I know
point.
that if you buy, I think it's Porsche has something. If you buy similar to what the Cena situation is, if you bought a certain 911, you got another. You could get another car at a discounted rate, but you couldn't sell it for more than you paid for it or whatnot. It was a limited edition Porsche.
When you bought there was an option box when you bought a 918 to get a 911 with it.
That might be it.
Yeah,
Which
I think that
how
sounds
ridiculous
right.
that was an option for the 918.
You got to have a daily. I mean,
Yeah,
you can't
it's
drive
not
a 918
reasonable to think
every
you're going
day.
to drive that everywhere.
No, that's crazy.
Right.
That's absolutely crazy.
But you can get a 911 with all-wheel drive. It's just like the Subaru thing. So they're great winter cars, I'm sure.
Why don't we have a bigger Porsche following here then?
Because it's unattainable.
Because we got a bunch of high school kids in Subarus, not
Bruh.
rich kids.
Bruh. Bro. Homie.
Home skillet.
Is that it, Robbie? We all agree that we're not sure about this?
Yeah, we're
I
gonna
don't
stay
feel
we're gonna
bad.
stay neutral on this whole subject.
Well, you were really quiet in that, and I feel like you
He
had
probably
something
he
to say.
can't even fit in the damn car. Why do they expect him to keep it?
I think that is a problem. I don't know that he can.
Well, he did
That's
that
true.
that YouTube video, and he's clearly can't fit in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't you think they let him sit in a prototype? Like if you're John Cena?
No.
No, he just ordered
No,
it.
it was
one of
money.
the- he was
There was
one of the
money in their
500.
pocket.
Yeah.
They knew that they would make the money.
Everybody-
You know what they did with that
Those
with
fi-
the GT, right? Like
Yeah.
you had to apply for the privilege to buy it.
Absolutely. I watched
So,
Jay
you went-
Leno's Garage. I know what's up.
So he went through that. I mean, he had to have known at some level.
I was like, he
Yeah.
applied before he ever
What's
sat in one.
surprising to me is that because that application process wasn't that long ago, but he apparently has made some sort of life decision that has brought him to the point where he needs to liquidate assets, most likely to find some money in such a short span.
Well, there was something about apparently his wife has some crazy YouTube channel where they just spend money on the dumbest shit that you could imagine. And that's like her thing.
Isn't that all of YouTube?
Yeah.
Yes.
I wasn't going to say YouTube, but we'll leave that alone.
Hey, you relax over there.
I wasn't even going to say you.
So that's like her shtick is like, how much money can you spend on water? And there's literally like a $15,000 water out there if anybody's interested. But so, she does crap like that. And
Michael
so
drinks 2 bottles a week. It's no
maybe
big
he's maybe that caught up with like all of a sudden they're like, oh, we don't have any liquid assets anymore.
Yeah, but
because-
you would have to think at a certain point she's getting funding somewhere.
Yeah, you think you'd get sponsorships.
There's
from the
no
brands
way
you're-
she's getting $15,000 water bottle funding, though.
Well,
I don't know if
she's
she's
a-
doing that.
Well, their
specifically.
name's out there.
They're both professional wrestlers. I mean, John Cena is one of the most highly paid wrestlers.
Is he still
Ever.
wrestling?
He eats at what's the
Is there really a $15,000 water bottle?
There's a $100,000 bottle
me
of water.
just-
That's what he's talking about.
Holy crap.
You gotta be fucking shitting me.
No, there really is. Like,
If Joe doesn't find it, I'll try.
there's
to
a
find it.
$100,000 one. They show up in a suitcase and they like serve it to you.
Yeah.
It comes with a sommelier.
Yeah.
Good sir.
This is
It's got. Oh no, we broke him.
this is the world.
I think it's got
Spreads.
gold in it.
It's out of control.
Doesn't it have gold? It has gold.
Is it
Goldschlager
Goldschlager?
water?
No,
yeah,
no,
it's
no.
like a Goldschlager water. Maybe that's not the same one. But
No, it's like specially cured from glaciers and
sure it is. Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm sure, like,
It's
came
Evian
from
in
the
a glass
Himalayas
bottle.
or something.
$60,000 bottle
No, we're almost there.
in a country that I can't say.
Guam.
That would be all their water. All
Aqua
of it
di
at once.
Cristallo Tributo. I really don't know what those.
I got Flint, Michigan, so I'm
You
dropping it.
Googled wrong.
I think I did. It's Tesla Corp, and then that.
you were close. There is a $402 bottle of water, which is cheap enough where you go, does somebody drink this weekly?
Every day?
Every day? Like if you're
Does Jeff Bezos have a case
does
in his
Jeff
fridge?
Yeah, exactly. Does he have some here's another one. Filico, $220 a bottle. I mean, yeah, I bet Bezos drinks a couple of those a day. Wouldn't you?
See, with
Yes,
that money,
absolutely.
you could buy one of Alex Jones's water filters, and then all the water's safe.
Alex Jones has a water filter?
Oh yeah, they sell them in the
Bro.
store.
What?
Yeah, get rid of the fluoride and the stuff they use to control your
You
mind.
got to be shitting me. For real?
Yeah, I think.
Why do you think he has so many Rolexes? People buy that shit.
Well,
yeah.
him, but
Have you ever been to their store?
whose store?
Alex Jones.
store.
His web store.
No.
Dude.
Oh,
I know what I'm doing when I get home. Are you kidding me? Oh my God, it's going to be awesome.
you're getting a T-shirt for Christmas and a water filter, but it's going to be like a knockoff. It's just going to be a straw.
That's fine. That's cool. All right, so let's move on. to
Wrap
the
this
next.
up.
We talked about this
All right,
topic.
a dealer out of Sioux Falls was caught for switching odometers and gets 2 years in prison.
I want to know how often this happens and nobody catches on.
Probably a lot.
It happened in Sioux Falls. So if it happened in Sioux Falls,
Hey, Sioux Falls is a habit in town.
I noticed it. Yeah.
Robbie and I are
Yeah.
from northwestern Iowa, so Sioux
yeah,
Falls was
yeah.
like the only place we could. If
where
we
it's
wanted
at,
to go
bro.
to a mall or a Walmart or eat McDonald's, that was basically what we had to do is go to Sioux Falls.
all right.
It was better than Sioux City.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sioux City.
Yeah.
My parents lived there, and I wholeheartedly agree.
Does anybody else find this a little bit excessive? Because this charge is only over one car, from what I could understand. Not that he didn't do it
Multiple
other
times.
times,
Right.
But this one particular charge is over one car.
What would be the negative outcome from doing that other than just falsifying the mileage on a vehicle?
That's all it is.
It's straight up fraud. There's no doubt about that. But it's fraud.
What did he
over
get? What did he get?
2 years in jail and a fine of like $3,000.
But are they doing it on the principle that he's done it before?
The way I read it was that it was a charge over this one specific case. So maybe there wasn't enough evidence to convict him of doing it in other cases, and so they gave him the maximum penalty.
Right.
That's possible.
It sounds excessive to me.
It seems a little excessive.
Like
Yeah.
maybe just a good fine
Because
to make you think.
Yes, I
twice.
think.
Like
Well, I think they.
$20,000 fine or
I think they
something.
could prove one, but they also said that he was swapping high mileage odometers with lower mileage odometers obtained from used parts dealers. So I mean, they assume he's done it at least more than once.
Right. Yeah. So he's a shady dude. There's no doubt. But 2 years in prison seems a little much.
Yeah,
There's
well,
people
we have
that
a hard
do-
time putting people into because we have such a crowded jail system in a lot of places, and we're putting this guy who's swapping odometer. I mean, he's not hurting anybody.
There's
Make 'em
people
pay-
that do a lot less time for a lot worse things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
I mean,
Prioritize.
figure out whatever the amount of his fraud is, and take that, double it. That's his fine. He's got to pay these people retribution, and it'll put him out of business, I'm sure. And
I think he's already out,
Well, yeah,
lives
he's
in
in jail
Texas
now,
or
so-
something like that now.
oh, okay. This
If I
was,
read that right, he's already jumped ship and lives in Texas, but they brought him back up here for this.
Well, I'm curious how if he is doing this all the time, and every time someone buys a car and registers it, and then they have to report mileage, and then it's lower than what it was reported the year or two before. How is that not a red flag? And how is
Do
he
you
not
think that's
caught?
how he got caught, maybe?
It has to have.
Or do you think he was smart enough to check the title? Like, he gets a
I
car
spo-
that was traded in, and maybe they owned it for 6 or 8 years, and they put 80,000 miles on it, and the title says that, so it's got like 160,000 miles on it, but the title said it only had 50 because that was the last time it was registered
Yeah.
again.
oh,
And so he goes out and he
Yeah.
finds a
one owner
an
car.
odometer that's got 90 on it, somewhere in the middle. Car's worth more because it's not a 100,000 mile car, but it doesn't look weird because the title's still lower than what the odometer reads.
I suppose he probably did put enough thought into it.
Nobody at the DMV is going to go like, you only put 40,000 miles on this thing in 8 years? Seems weird. No one's
they
going
don't
to call
care.
that.
No.
Yeah.
Stamp next.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that if
but-
he's got it figured out,
I
this
think he
guy's
does too.
good.
It seems a little weird that you had all that information. Just you guys trade a lot of cars over there.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It just seems a
I
little
plead
weird.
the fifth.
Seems a little weird. Wait a minute. What's the Fifth Amendment? 'Cause
But I know
it is free speech. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was thinking. Yep.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Your
I'm
second
the moron.
thing is second,
I'm-
maybe?
yeah,
Like,
second is free
sorry,
speech.
Yep, exactly.
it's all good.
Plead the fifth. That's what you do when you don't want to
No,
talk
you're
about
right.
something.
You're
when you don't want to
I was-
incriminate
and-
yourself.
yeah.
Right. You
Yep.
don't. I have the right to not self-incriminate or something like
Yes.
that.
Yeah. So I'll self-incriminate.
Robbie's done this.
Oh, that's right,
apparently.
because you've done this.
I've done
before.
this. I took when I got my 240. I was trying to change the gauges in it because I was really ricer at the time. Well, I'm still really ricer now, but I snapped off the speedometer gauge, and I was like, well, I could just order one of these on eBay for like $50. So I ordered one, and it was the car was 138,000 miles, and I got it. And then the speedometer or the new gauge cluster I got was at 156. So I'm like, well, I'll just try to spin it until it gets back to 138, and then I broke it. Then I had to order another one.
Because they've already thought about this.
Yep. And then I was able to get that one from, it was less than, I think it was like 128, and I was able to push that one up to 138.
So you didn't
No.
falsify. You just
No, I
made it
bought
right.
one and then modified it so it matched what it was actually at.
Any lesser man would have just left it, though. Let's be real.
Well,
Yeah, over 100,000
Yeah,
miles.
but-
Who cares anymore?
Yeah, I say a lot of people just pull them out and they
Plus,
just have a
wasn't it
speedometer. Who
car
cares?
salvage?
Yeah, it's a salvage car. Who
Yeah,
cares?
yeah.
My gauge cluster went out in the Xterras, but now it says I have 87,000. And it's really like 160. So
just times two. It's not a big deal.
yeah,
Yeah, he just put an X2 behind it. Yeah, we got this. It's whatever.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Well, yeah, it's LS swap now, and that engine's got 88,000 miles. Who cares at this point?
It gets to a point where it really doesn't matter.
It really doesn't
No,
matter.
right.
No.
They can say one.
But if you're a dealer, that's pretty messed up.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. He's a piece of shit regardless, but
But yeah, I think a fine would, and just let's move on.
yeah.
Let's not make him be
I think
a burden
Joe's
of
right
the
though.
people.
I think he probably shouldn't be a burden to the people for that, but I think you should get some money out of him instead if he has any assets.
Because what'd you say, $3,000 was his
Yeah,
fine?
$3,000,
Seems really low to me.
$3,700 fine.
There's-
2 years in jail.
You have to fill out that odometer disclosure now, though, when you buy a used car.
Yeah.
So I bet you that has everything to do with this.
Is that just from dealers?
It's for used cars, period.
Okay.
Yeah,
You have
because
to- if you
even
buy
on
it
your bill
from a
of
dealer,
even
yeah,
your
yeah,
bill
yeah.
of sales should say your odometer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
I suppose you get somebody like,
Still be
it's not
falsified.
important, and then they could be falsifying those too.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
Very true.
Yeah, well, I'll fill that out later in the shop. Or
Exactly.
you know, just
Or how many
sign here,
people
I'll get
don't
a
know that
ticket.
even is a thing?
I'm sure
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know.
When I bought a $300 Taurus to race at Oskaloosa, I had to fill out an odometer disclosure. So he was serious enough to make me do it. And the only reason I did it is because I needed a paper plate put on the back so I could drive it home.
Yep.
And the car's now sitting in a cornfield.
Rad. Anything else on that?
No, I want to go look at his seams and learn how.
Okay.
just
Robbie wants to
grab.
go look at some vinyl.
Teach me.
Robbie, there won't be very many seams.
He hasn't done the shop tour yet.
Oh, he hasn't. Because he was late.
He was
He was
late.
I
late.
took the wrong turn. I turned too soon.
He had
I went
excuses
down there.
ready when he walked in the door.
Oh,
There
did he?
are seams on the Legacy because it doesn't have the
That's
rain
right.
rails. Yeah.
Right.
Actually,
so there's-
I'm more concerned with like wrapping it around the edge of the hood.
Oh.
and
He just
stuff.
wants to steal all your
The
trade
tedious
secrets
stuff
and then
that most
laugh.
people don't consider.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the stuff I want to know how to do.
Yeah.
And then if it
Are
sucks,
you a patient person?
yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Robbie's pretty anal about
Robbie
stuff. So.
Robbie will do it 6 times if that's what it takes to get it right.
Yeah, same way.
I'm not happy with my trunk.
That
so.
Jeep we did, I did the hood on it 3 times.
Yeah, it
Had
was-
just like a little speck of dust that kept showing up.
Uh-huh.
It was interesting.
Interesting watching me.
Joe's over there like,
Yeah, I'm
dude,
just like,
we only get paid to do
looks
this
fine.
once.
He's got this crazy look of like, it's fucking too many times.
Yeah, I didn't realize how many flaws were in my paint until I wrapped it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
They'll-
everywhere.
They'll all come
well,
through.
and that's something that we always tell people. You're only as good as the vinyl, what the vinyl's sticking to.
Oh yeah.
The great thing about a wrap is it really highlights contours, but then it really highlights all those imperfections too.
That's why you wrap matte things with really busy designs. Like my Xterra doesn't have a straight body panel on it, but you can't really tell because it's matte and it's got camo and
Yep.
Yeah.
lines all over it.
It's almost like a camouflage.
Yeah, almost.
It's gone downhill, folks. If you're
That's
still
all right.
listening,
Wrapping it up.
Let's wrap it up. Thanks a lot, guys. This was seriously a
Thank you.
lot of fun.
This was a lot of
fun.
fun. I
We should,
enjoyed
we
this.
should do this again sometime.
we
in all seriousness,
most definitely would love to do it again.
maybe we should hang out sometime like as friends. I don't
be
want to
friends.
like push the relationship.
Well,
too
it's all
fast
good.
or
We
whatever.
could
Hey.
maybe do that.
Yeah,
We don't hang out with people
I tell
outside
you
of the
what,
podcast.
515 Racing, we're building a shop right now. It'll be just down the road on Northeast 14th. If the electric company ever comes to put power to my building, we'll have a party and do a podcast there as like
grand
grand
opening.
opening.
Grand opening. There you
Podcast.
go.
I'm down.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
I want to see a 600 horsepower snowmobile.
Yeah.
I want to see this.
We should have 2.
I don't want to ride on it. Sure as hell don't want to drive
I just want
it.
to look at it from a distance.
Look
like,
at
that
maybe
looks
hear
nice.
it run, but not too close.
I can see the turbo. That's good. I'm
You
good
know,
from here.
Snake's Alive at the state fair.
Oh god.
That's what this is. Like, I don't want to touch a snake. I just want to like walk
I want
by.
to check it out.
Yeah.
It's like there's no reason that we can't have a glass wall between me
Yeah,
and
that's-
There's
I
a
think
barrier
that this-
between me and okay, I'm good. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
go then.
we're good.
Yep,
It's like going to the zoo.
Or the flat Earth conspiracy.
I want to keep a lot more than a glass wall between me and those people.
They're everywhere though. That's the problem.
And they're breeding.
And on that note, let's wrap it up. iHeartZion.com.
iHeartZion.com.
Heck yes, I remembered it. What's lifestyle?
LifestyleOffroad.com and then 515. The number's 515 and then racing.com.
Rad. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank
Catch
you.
everybody next week.
See ya.